There we go. Is that muted? It's muted. What up, folks? Hello. Hello, Ladybug. Quick off the mark. No worries, Lestat. Hey, lady. Carrie B. Okay, Ladybug. I was wondering. Do you know what? Now that you mention it, I remember. Hello, us and them. Should be interesting tonight. I have a wee bit of a catch up on what I've been watching during the week, what I've seen, what I've caught up on, things like that there, and then I think Lestat is going to join me in a live stream just to have a little bit of a chat about you know how things are going. I'm sure some of you have been around to watch a lot of stuff, but there's a few that haven't. So I'll let a few more people roll in before I, get carried away with myself and start talking complete and utter nonsense all night, as I like to do. So yeah. So subs or subs. What am I talking about? Subs. To the moderators that are here, hopefully you can hear me okay and everything's good that way. Basically, at the point where I'll be talking to the stat, I won't really be able to keep an eye on the chat too much. Basically, if anybody's coming in and being an asshat, put them in timeout first of all, and then if they keep at it, just freaking kick them. I'll unblock them as I usually do for the next one. So but that's basically where I stand on that. Like, so I've been watching a few things. Interesting today. My old buddy, OJ1 Kenobi. The Force. Put out a wee video. Basically having a go at what do you call him, Jimmy Deluxe, because over something from what 8 months ago, 9 months ago. In fact, it probably is about 9 months ago now, because this all started in May, I believe, around about May 1st. So stupid notifications. So yeah, I mean, it's been back and forth, this whole thing with deluxe and whatnot. I myself have been guilty of it, so I have. And I realized, I've come to the realization about a few things that I was being used. Um, I was also being misinformed by people in the group. And I'll explain that as I'm talking about well, this is why I'm talking about OJ's video, or OG1 Kenobi's video, because in it he warns Jamie Deluxe that he's going to put out the live streams that he deleted, blah blah blah. You know, the ones about gunk and train, etc. Now, I know there was various live streams available at the time because this group of people all talked about it at the time. And there is live streams on Jamie Deluxe channel that anybody can go and view. And if any of you want the name for it, and it's not that I'm sticking up for the guy or anything like that there, but you know, when a spade's a spade, uh, you call it a spade. At least you know there's no point misinforming everybody on one point. You know, whenever you know it's not right. So you know, basically, I'll get the name of it here. Uh, there's one that's called The Plot Thickens, and the other one, I can't remember what the other one's called, but they're around about May 1st anyway. They're about 8 months ago on his video list. It's quite easy to go back. See, they're not named, obviously. They don't have an obvious name like Gunk, Pedo, etc. But the videos are there for people to watch, so I don't think that's right to be saying, you know, that about the guy. And in fact, I think there was a particular video, I believe it was put up, that showed messages and whatnot. And I believe Social Injustice Warrior, he made a video about it where he showed it all. And I know Gunk was going around striking everybody who was putting these up. So I don't know if Jimmy maybe deleted something because you know he didn't want to get struck or he got struck. I've never spoke to that guy. Well, that's a lie. I have actually spoke to him in message about it in Discord back in I think it was in the summertime. I did since that time try to talk to him again, but he never replied to my message. So maybe he felt he shouldn't talk to me because I am one of the people that's had a bit of a gripe with Jamie as well because I don't know where the guy stands. And as I said, I was getting pumped into me that, oh, all these video streams were taken down or being capped from us. And, you know, they wouldn't show them to anybody. And, you know, it was all to protect Gunk. When in actual fact, the videos are there, and I believe if you go to the Steam it, they're on it too. I think there might be one video that's on Steam it that's not on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure on that. But this whole thing about going after Jamie now, I mean, listen, a week ago they were all in love with Jamie. You know, they were all cross pollinating, as a friend called it. Where you know one channel went down and everybody, you know, these people who don't even like Jamie apparently they were, you know, giving a big shout out to Jamie and his channels down. In fact, FK and Freddy even went on to Lift the Veils channel to talk about this, you know, and had a phone call and all this. So and now you've got OG and he's going after that guy again. So you know, it's like, man, you covered all this months ago. Why are you going over and over and over with nothing new? You know, I don't know. It's like the whole thing about Dave T. there's only so much you can do with it. You know, you can warn people ultimately, and as sickening as this is for me to admit this, uh, you know, he's not doing anything. Dave T is not doing anything illegal, and he knows it. You know, and all you can do is warn people of him and what he is. Hi, Rich, um, etc. And that's it. Now that I mentioned DFT, it was an interesting wee fact. I caught a video of his during the week there, and he's now talking. he, he's talking about the Mandela effect now. You know, this is in with Hillary Clinton on her 100,000 indictments. The Mandela effect, maybe that's what's happened to indictments. The Mandela effect took them all away. Who knows? Um, but yeah, you know, so I don't understand if you turn around, it feels like from what I've witnessed with the OG now, you know, if Jamie does what OG said wants him to do, he's cool with that. Uh, and if he's not doing what he wants him to do, he's going to friggin' throw him under the bus. Uh, that's kind of bullshit. You know, just make your video, and if you're not happy with the guy, state your claim. You can't keep on freaking jumping over the fence. You know what I'm saying? You're either for something or you're against it. You can't keep on flip flopping. That's what these people do. They flip flop a lot. Hey Billy, hey Lee. Now, so there's flip flopping going on there, and I was going through some of OG's old videos, and I noticed he's going after a guy called Wordman or something. You know, now I didn't know there's OG there. What about you, mate? Oh well, there you go. I misinterpret that then. You're talking about him calling you pedo. Well, why not just put them up instead of frigging dragging out a big long thing so he does what you want? I mean, I think it's a bit of a bullshit that if Jamie doesn't do what you want them to do, that you're going to go after him. Kind of like what you did with me, by the way. You know, I wasn't doing what people wanted me to do, so I got kicked from the role. Oh yes, that's right, OG. I get it wrong all the time. That's right. I accused you, and I apologized, didn't I? And what you accepted that apology? I can't remember. It's irrelevant anyway, because it doesn't really matter. You know, the point was you have got a laugh. You're going on about he's called you a pedo. Well, listen, you and your good friend buddy Freddie were in Betty Washam's chat telling fucking them that I was a fucking pedo. Now you didn't say it. Your friend Betty, Freddie was talking about it and claimed I was working with Dave T. Now you were in the chat with him and you never spoke up. So you've got a fucking nerve going around anybody bullshit and everything. And then you fucking, you know, you've got cause there who asked you for a wee bit of fucking help and you went off on her. So you know what? You can fucking skyrocket out of here. I don't even know why you want to be in my fucking live stream anyway, OJ. You know, you had your chance to come on here and talk and you bottled it, mate. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. That's right, lady. That's right. It was timestamp. I even went and timestamped it myself. It's on one of the other videos. The video that he actually apologized to OG on. Um, Now, here's something for you too. You keep on. Falkman, funny enough about blue chickens. Here's a wee thing that I've noticed about blue chickens, Falkman. I don't know. I've noticed by going around everybody's live streams, I've noticed a pattern develop. I've seen it with various people that type the same thing over and over again. And I must admit, I thought a bit curious and thought, they're just doing a wee bit of trolling or they're laughing or whatever. That's what I thought at first, but it kept on happening and happening. And I'm like, same stuff. And then other people would come into my chat and then they would type something absurd or obscure that didn't fit in with the conversation. And I'm like, fuck me, why is everybody, what's that all about? And my only conclusion with it is the significance. Well, I'm not 100% sure. So, I mean, OG's here, and I'll be a liar if I speak out loud about it. But there's definitely something to it. There is a meaning behind it. I'm pretty sure about it. But it is what it is. So they're going after this Wordman guy. They're going after Honeybee, etc. And they keep on talking about the snuff video and the MJ victims thing and how they busted that. Well, OG, the truth about it is, fucking the whole snuff video was nothing to do with you. You were completely oblivious to it. You knew nothing about it. Freddie knew nothing about it. All of that come about pure and simply because of me. Because I saw the stream and I put the videos out straight away about it. You know, you keep on saying about how you took down the fucking $10,000. Most of the people in this stream now all went there and reported it and complained and saved it, including Cassette. I know Rennie did. I'm pretty sure Lee Veltman did as well. Most of the people that frequent my stream, everybody was outraged about that. It wasn't just an effort by two channels; it was everybody. The community, and the amount of people who were reporting. In fact, I was actually able to catch it on video at the time that me reporting the guy that had the link up in the chat of the snuff video, reporting it, and it disappeared there and then. So I mean, none of this would have happened. None of this was known. You caught the MJ victims was out long before that. Honeybee just put up the video about it, Egypt. MJ victims was to do with freaking the Michael Jackson thing. That's what that was about. But they needed the LARP afterwards. You don't even have the full video. You weren't even freaking. You was that wrapped up to get freaking some ridiculous narrative out that you never even looked at the big picture of it and actually saw it for what it was. A LARP, and proof that they LARPed it there and then on the spot. That these people have LARPs ready to go of the most sickening nature. Whatever happened to Freddie's memorial to the kid? Do you remember? Everybody was outraged about this $10,000 GoFundMe for a memorial, and Freddie started driving around Canada, live streaming. He was on his way to do this. He was on his way to do that, and he was putting up. He was going to get a memorial built for this kid. Has that ever happened yet, or is that still to come in the future? Do you remember that? FKM Freddie, you remember that, Freddie? I'm sure you're in here too. Putting up a memorial for this kid. It wasn't going to cost you 10 grand. You'd do it for free. You should put a wee video up and show everybody about the memorial that you put up. Yeah, that was another LARP that you took advantage of to go around collecting people, because that's what the people do: collect people. No content, but collects people. More subs than all of us put together. So that was that, you know. They're going after Jamie because Jamie. One minute they're all in love with Jamie. Now they're going after Jamie. It's just regurgitating the same old thing, and it's like, and I understand where OG comes from to an extent because you know he's in and out of it. You know, he's up and down with his manic depression, and he struggles to cope with any type of how would you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Conflict. You know, that's it. Yeah, I mean now they're at the minute they're all in tight with Unirock at the minute. Unirock's the best thing since sliced bread at the minute too, which is surprising because a couple of months ago they were all Unicock this and Unicock that. You know, so it's hard to keep. It's hard to keep. No, I'm not obsessed. I'm just trying to keep up with you know what's going on. Because OG, you and Freddie keep on changing it. A couple of weeks ago, you were about a month ago, was it? I'm not sure. It was before I had left. Um, you were all doing the whole Lestat and bringing down Cicada, and that just went to shit, didn't it? That just ended. Everybody dropped that like a hot brick for whatever reason. So, uh, so Veltman, you know what is the deal with your? See, I think Veltman, these people that keep on repeating the same topic whenever the stream or the conversation is going in a completely different direction. These people who, you know, try and come up with a different subject, like you've just done now with your, you know, time phone hack. That to me looks like it's a code. Should it be for now? Should it be for later? I don't know, but that's what it looks like. So, I mean, OG won't even let people comment on his videos. You know, he'll have a go at people. He'll mention people's names in the stream or his video or what, and he'll do no comments for it. So they can't even defend themselves. We saw that with our good friend Kickstand here, you know, but we've seen him go after others as well. But anyway, listen, this stream isn't really about OG. This is about what I was, what I'd kind of seen. Um, there was other interesting things that I noticed too. Dave T talking about uh, Mandela effect. I thought was pretty out there, pretty funny, and the guy even went to he even went to the extent to buy this whole thing to do with the lion and the wolf. People reckon in the Bible in Isaiah it was the lion or the lamb was to lay down with the lion or the lamb will lay down with the lamb, one of the two. Where in actual fact it says the wolf will lay down with the lamb, and they think this is changed by like some sort of quantum effect or you know time traveling or whatever. There's so many different theories, and apparently, if you buy a statue off eBay, it proves this. Well, in the Bible, because I know a wee bit about the Bible. Um, in the Bible, Christ is, you know, um, he's the lamb, and he is the lion. So it'd be pretty stupid for, in two different stages. So that's just a wee simple thing that, these people try to make out that everything's changed. So yeah, she's another cuckoo working for ABC. Now the interesting thing that I have noticed this week is I've got it kind of pinned down to one guy, and this happened about a year ago. Uh, it's just over a year ago, in fact, in not the truth community, but a different side of YouTube, where a particular person was outed and found to have, connections. His story didn't add up. And when people did a wee bit of investigation, it kind of led back to the whole cannabis and Bitcoin being pushed in all these channels. Now, at the time, the people that were looking in this, they didn't relate it all across all boundaries. And that's maybe another reason why I'm talking about Mandela effect, because the truth community is kind of broke up into invisible subjects. You've got people who are into the Mandela effect in a big way. I mean, I laugh about it and I joke about it, but it has got serious followers behind it. They believe in it. They're 100% convinced. I'm sure some of you are here long enough to remember Lift the Veil talking about the Mandela effect. So that's like an invisible group or subject in the truth community that attracts a group of people. You've got Flat Earth will attract, a group of people as well, and it's got a huge following now. I mean, these people are having fucking conferences now, so they are. They're going around the states and having conferences about flat Earth, etc. I have a few questions about that myself. Ultimately, I've never been off a planet, so I can't prove that it's a globe, or I can't prove that it's round. Just give us a few minutes. Let's start, and I'll round things up, mate. So you've got the flat Earth community who has a huge following. You've got people in the Bureau, that are all into Planet X and whatnot. Some of you might remember Robert David Steele, is it? When he talked about your man, he talked about kids being slaves on the moon or Mars, sorry. So you have all these different categories, people that don't believe in the space missions and whatnot, the moon landings and investigate all that other stuff. Um, so there's all these invisible subjects, categories, that everybody, very few people seem to cross over or come away from them. They seem to be locked in them. Uh, so if something goes on in one community, it maybe doesn't meet it on another. And last year, I noticed our good friend Truth Convoy actually talking about this. And, she was going over the flat earth to find out what had happened. Now, this happened, it's actually, yeah, it's well over a year ago. And she was making a connection between this company called Mellotron and cannabis and Bitcoin. I think it was just the cannabis. In fact, if I remember rightly, she was taking a piss out of OG because there's a cannabis plant named with a name similar to OG's name. So she was taking a hand out of OG's name that he got his name from this cannabis plant. I don't know if there's any truth in it. Somebody might remember that. I don't know. But she actually took her videos down. So, well, they were down when I looked a couple of days ago, but I can remember putting them up. But the thing about Truth Convoy is there's not a lot of truth there. So when she actually does put up something that is of any value. Most people skip by it because they understand and know that the lady just is very imaginative and inventive with her theories in life and what's going on around her. She has recently admitted that she's been tested, had psychiatric evaluations on a few different occasions, and she's fine. She's not have any mental illness, so I feel vindicated there because I never believed that she had mental illness. I was always in doubt that there was any mental illness. So anyway, she's talking about this Mellotron, right? But all this happened like a year ago within the flat Earth community, and it was a big deal. And in fact, believe it or not, the guy's called Mark Sargent. He's known as the father of flat Earth. And basically, it was found out he created his channel in 2016. That's when his flat Earth came out. He did his first videos about it. He kind of launched the whole thing. And the thing about it was, this company called Mellotron had already made a web page, etc., about called Mark Sargent. So they back in 2012, I believe. So they had a good couple of years insight with a crystal ball that Mark Sargent was going to go big, viral with flat Earth 4 years later. So that's some foresight. That so they and at the same time, this guy had made mobile apps for Mark Sargent and his friend called Patricia Steer, who does a show called Hot Potatoes. Now, crazily enough, our good friend left the veil. I remember this at the time. Whenever he first came onto the scene in the Twitter community, he did like an interview on Patricia Steer's channel called Hot Potatoes and other things. And he was telling everybody about how the space landings. He didn't believe. Basically, he doesn't believe everything. He woke up in 2014, so he did. He's going through all that there. But the point there is, everybody believes Lift the Veil is a bit of a plant, and Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer are seen as a bit of a plant as well now, and they're all going around doing these conferences and stuff like that. There, journalism, that's another guy, and he's connections. He's good friends with Lift the Veil as well. So there's all these wee connections going on here. They were on each other's channels, etc., and whatnot. So it's just interesting. So when you start to look into a background, though, with a bit of time that's passed and the realization of what's going on YouTube across all the categories, that there is definitely, it's not just a whim, or a gut feeling. I absolutely believe 100% that there is a controlled narrative put out by whoever. And the fact now, the guy who is behind this Mellotron is work history, worked for Time Warner, etc., etc. He worked in Hollywood, and they're making apps where you can use crypto to buy cannabis, cryptocurrency to buy cannabis, and they made an app called Vaporizer. It's supposed to be cryptic, but a lot of these apps have now disappeared from the iTunes store, and from the Google Play Store, the only apps that are left are kind of stupid ones like these flat Earth ones and whatnot. Now, believe it or not, the apps aren't free. You have to pay for them. Like the Mark Sargent one, his is quite interesting because he just doesn't talk about flat Earth. And when you actually hear him talk about flat Earth, oh my God, how anybody would believe that guy is crazy because he talks about a sort of crap. So, um, anyway, he just talks nonsense, but he's got this app that you can pay $2.99 for. And so far, I believe he sold it like over 10,000 times. And from what I understand, people who were getting the app weren't happy because um, you were given permission for your camera, access to your camera, access to your photos, access to other files, etc., etc., etc. And none of these files had anything to do with what this app was able to do. There was no reason why they needed to have access to all this. Now, I noticed this about a year or so ago with apps that I was downloading, that all of a sudden they were asking permission, and I just stopped. I wouldn't have them on my phone at the time. And in fact, I actually uninstalled quite a few apps because of it. And now I don't even use my phone as a phone anymore. So I don't. And it's interesting. Now I was kind of looking this sort of stuff up on my phone, and I opened an app on my iPad yesterday, and it's a Sky Sports app just to look up the football news and stuff like that there. And there's wee advertisements below, and the stuff that I'd been searching for in one phone was being advertised in the other on the iPad in this app. And that is exactly what this Mellotron company is. It's all about data mining, getting your information, etc., etc., etc. Now, the guy himself, I need to look a bit more. I've done a wee bit of investigating into him, and I definitely need to do more before I can, you know, be confident that I've got it 100% right. But I will try and get a video out about it because I think it's important. Because this guy has ties to Hollywood, he has ties to major film studios, he has ties to all that Hollywood seems to offer, and he's been in this game for quite some time now. And the way things that we've witnessed in this category of YouTube, this part of the community, like the VOP LARP, um, that was straight up all wrong. Uh, it didn't sit right from the very beginning. It was a very poor put together LARP. Uh, and it was called out pretty quick. But here we go. You've got Unirock telling the world that you know, he outed this first or whatever, or and then you've China the Three doing the same thing. Like, and I don't put it down. Like, the community finds this out pretty quick. The community is what works this out. People will come to me and say, "Here, have you seen such and such?" And I haven't seen it. And they said, "I think something's not right there." And I go and look at it. I'm like, "You know what? You're freaking right. It's not right. Something is a bit funnier." But I'm not going to turn around and take credit for it and say, "Oh yeah, I find this, and this is a lot, folks." And that's kind of the thing. That's kind of, I think, one of the things that really fucks the community up is the fact that all these people want big credit for I outed this first and I outed that first and all that bullshit. And like the whole thing with that MJ victims thing, like I mean, all that genuinely did come about, and I have the videos to show it because I happened on to I came across fully sourced live streaming. Now Another thing in that video, by the way, one thing that I haven't got wrong about OG's video is, he's having a go at Jimmy Deluxe because he follows fully sourced on Twitter. After all this time, he's still following the pedophile. Well, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm subscribed to him. Shock fucking horror. I'm subscribed to the guy. I even make sure I get notifications from the guy. Not because I'm a keen follower, I want to listen, but the reality is, that whole MJ victims thing, that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have came out if I hadn't been a subscriber. If I hadn't caught his live stream, I think it happened in the early morning UK time, and I just happened to catch it where somebody was saying, "I've come across child porn," and Mr. Gonk clearly says, "Don't report it. We'll investigate it." You know. So me being subscribed to that is why everybody is able to run about. Who paid for new computers for OG and Scoob when OG can't afford a gram of weed? I paid for my own computer, Twinkle Toes. What are you trying to suggest? Yeah, I specifically bought a laptop to make videos. Yeah, I said that. Yep. Do you think somebody bought it for me? I have the receipt if you want to see it. I'll put a wee receipt up for you if you want to. You know, I even paid. I think it was 125 Great British pounds for the software package of Cyberlink. Twinkle Toes. I don't think anybody else did that, but I know I did because I wanted to use it. Rather than use third-party free software, I thought I'd want to use it. I don't know what the problem is. So if you're thinking that somebody else bought me my computer, man, I wish they did because they would have saved me. I think it was £700, £699 I paid for it out of Curry's. I'll even give you the address if you really want. All right. Now here's a funny thing, Twinkle Toes. I was off YouTube for quite a while. For whatever reasons, it doesn't really matter. Although Truth Convoy seems to think I was arrested for child porn, which it wasn't. But anyway, I know. I'm just putting it out there because I have nothing to hide about it. List that. Um, you know. I did have an old computer. I had an older laptop, but it was dead. So it was time to buy a new one. And in fact, if you even go back further, you'll see in maybe some of Channel 3's videos that I actually mentioned about that I was going to be getting a computer. Maybe Honeybee paid for it, that $20 should donate to Channel 3. I don't know. Idiots. So, you know, I haven't asked for money. I've never asked for money. In fact, I don't even ask people to like my video. I don't put out, you know, uh, preview videos saying that, I'll be live in an hour, etc., etc. So I'm not monetized. Could be monetized, but I'm not. And the reason why I'm not monetized and it's not really so much about the whole thing about validating yourself as a real truther, because I wouldn't call myself a truther. Most of the actual reason why I'm not monetized is because to receive the money, I would have to have a PayPal account, and I don't want a PayPal account because that means I'd have to give my bank details, and I don't want to give my bank details. I'm not on the internet except for this channel. This is the only thing that I have connected to internet, and didn't have to verify my actual identity to be on it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it, to be honest with you, because the internet is full of shit. In fact, that's why we're all here. But anyway, the whole thing about following, I wouldn't have known about that whole thing, Gunk telling them, don't be reporting the child porn to authorities, we'll look at it thing. I wouldn't have found that if I hadn't been subbed them. So, I have an iPhone and I stopped using it as a phone. I don't carry it with me when I leave the house. I don't even put a SIM card in it. It's nowadays, it's just another tablet nowadays. I obviously have a mobile phone, but I actually use an old Nokia 8310. So that's how much I don't want to be anywhere near connected to the internet. So anyway, back to a few things. I'd asked Lestat if he, wanted to do a wee live stream with me. He said he was interested, that he'd like to come on and talk to me. So I'm going to drop Lestat a link in the Hangouts here, where he's more than welcome to join. It's only for Lestat, so I would ask other people not to join. If you do join, I will kick you, etc., etc. So I'll try and do it this way first. So the stats are, hit the link and join me. I Spy, you're not trying to set me up again, are you?
Hey there, Scooby.
Is that you? Okay, I'm just gonna take this link out. I Spy, you're not. Somebody else joins in.
No, I don't see anyone else.
Yeah. But someone maybe join in. I Spy gets upset if I don't invite him in sometimes.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
He likes to use me as a weapon, apparently. In fact, it was I Spy that started all this off, which was no bad thing, really, at the end of the day. I guess I'm kind of glad he did, because it woke me up to a few things, what was going on. So, let's start. It's been interesting times for you. Me and you have never spoke before.
No, never.
Apart from me leaving you a message, that's kind of it in your last video. I did kind of sit in the sidelines of things. In fact, when things were kind of blowing up about the whole Cicada thing, that weekend was like the weekend where I was like, "Do you know what? Fuck FK and Freddy and OJ1 Kenobi and Treats Renfro, Week 9, all the rest of it. Well, not so much Week 9. He wasn't really part of it, but, because of my personal experience with him. And that kind of blew up at the same time. So I was never really able to get talking to you about anything. And just to kind of get a bigger picture, because there was like streams everywhere, but they were like hours and hours long, and I was like, oh, screw that, And knowing my experience of FK and Freddy, more so than OG, because OG's kind of he's easily led. But my experience of FK and Freddy and my prior, knowledge of him and whatnot, I was kind of skeptical. I'll be honest. I was skeptical of what was actually going on. Canada was involved there as well. Canada was another one who went all apeshit funny on me, and I was kind of like, "Here, Lee, cheerio. Sorry about this, but I'm going to remove you, mate."
Yeah, I guess it is a convoluted story, and I don't blame people that just get confused or just really don't know what's going on or why should they pay attention to it. It's some people confuse it with ego fight with something that should be solved in privacy or internal. And I totally get it. It's been it's been just revelation over revelation, and I really think that people right now in YouTube are just a little bit over paranoid on things.
I don't think it's over. Would you be able to mute that so I don't hear myself?
Yes.
I don't think it's over paranoia. I think it's a case of we've all been here before with other scenarios that turned out to be very dubious. And it's not, I'm not saying, this whole thing was a lark, but I'm saying we've all been here with some of the same characters that you were with, and we've seen it for what it was, and they've been larks, and people have been involved, and so rather than I would say people being paranoid, I would say they're skeptical of what is actually happening. And it's got that point now where the truth community has been outplayed because look, people aren't stupid. People are pretty intelligent, most of them anyway. There is some crazies about but they've all just got to the point of is this for real? Is this just another LARP? Is this another lure of the onion? And that's how I was looking at it because the characters that I was seeing involved in it. I mean, FK and Freddy on his own. My goodness, that guy is knee deep in everything and everyone. That guy gets around, and it seems to me that people get burned when he's around. And that's not me being bitter, by the way. That's me being just saying how I've seen it. I've witnessed it in various other groups of people that he's got involved with. So that's I don't really see it as paranoia, but skepticism. So the whole thing with you, what was the actual intent?
Well, the intent was first of all to strip any kind of power, at least publicly, that this character Thomas had over channels, people, expose him as he is, and over and that's how it started. I think that it was basically me defending myself also, because this was, I did everything in my power to keep it private, but he was the first one to throw the public punch. And it was brought to me, and I was asked about it, and I started to answer it, and it so went on. And and over the time that I've been in this basically investigation of this character and the persons that surrounding him, I found out many connections that started making sense about what the current situation in YouTube, and what's going on basically with the conspiracies. And so basically that was the main intention. It still is. This character is uses very well language and manipulations, and it's he's very good at lying. So it's not been easy, and more if every channel in YouTube is either against you or not willing to, or don't want to get in that mess, because it does look like a mess. Or they're skeptic, like you said. And basically that comment about over paranoid, it was more referring about the YouTubers that just explode and stuff. I really understand that the viewers are more than that have developed a good eye in detecting lies and LARPs.
You see, I just found it a wee bit ironic at the time that this was all being played out, because kind of what was happening to you, or you say was happening to you, that the first blow was put out against you, came from Thomas, and at that same time, I experienced the same crap with FKM Freddy and OG1 Kenobi, where they struck out at me, and kind of pushed me off, because this was actually the whole build up to you and Freddie and all China talking about this. It was going on for a bit before. Do you remember that stream at Treats on?
Yeah.
Where Thomas apparently came in and whatnot? Well, you had been talking prior to that and had been in the background for some time. And obviously, I came out that same weekend being all pissed off as I was about what had been going on, I'd been experiencing. And it goes to show that, because I was completely in the dark about any of this. So, it backs up, it kind of backs me up, because these guys weren't telling me everything. And if I supposedly this was all in my head and everybody was cool with me, I would have thought they would have talked to me about what was going on, this whole stat thing. And I just find it interesting that, it's kind of a similar journey, that the people who were kicked me were then wanting to out somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So, it's it kind of seemed to get a wee bit messy, and it didn't really seem to go anywhere. I mean, certainly from what I could see, I know there was emails sent, and emails shown. Freddie put up the video where he showed, a bit of a veiled threat against him and whatnot, and then, he put it up there and then he deleted it. Um, did you get any explanation from Freddie and OG, etc., on why they left you to it and took more to do? No, took more to no more to do with it.
Well, here's the thing. The problem started after that first stream with Screech. After that first stream, if I don't, I think that Preach put it down, but if it's still up, you can see Thomas going up there and just going berserk about the fact that I was in that stream and talking about the things that I was talking about. After that, he immediately started contacting Preach, and the whole phone call story, and so on. And so this character is very is good at creating internal conflict. So I wouldn't be surprised if part of the problems that you had were either tailored or a Discord seed was planted there. I mean, I got really in alert when the whole Preach Wanda LARP tryout went on. I'm not going to
What
speculate.
what But what made you alert? I mean, what was it exactly about that made you go fuck?
Well, it was too strange. It was too coincidental. It was the same story, and just hearing Preach telling him to make a YouTube video, and I mean, and it was a stream that I was supposed to be in, but I remember I got in there late after the whole thing happened, and I was just either you can call it amazed or whatever. It was just too strange. Oh, and and coincidences like that. It's something to think about it at least.
Well, it certainly was a bit out there, and at the time, I mean, I thought it was really questionable at the time, and it caused a bit of uproar. I mean, one of the ladies that I know, she had put a video out about it, showing what had happened, and it caused uproar. And in fact, everybody turned all shit in her over this, basically, and. She didn't do anything. In fact, she ended up doxxed, which was bullshit. But that's another, you know, for me, when I saw it happen, it just stunk. It was like, this isn't real. This kid doesn't add up. I mean, it was pretty quick. His story didn't add up as he was talking about it. You know, he talks about having no money, but then he talks about he's got an iMac computer and all that other stuff. And I think, well, they're not that cheap, etc. He has resources, but he's saying he's skint. The kid was talking about he didn't do drugs, but then he talked about crystal stuff. And you're like, fuck's sake. It was just kind of laughable and how it all come about. And at the time, it didn't sit right. And I also noted as well, whenever that happened, FKM Freddy who wasn't supposed to be there. He was going on a bike ride. He just happened to pop in at the right moment to turn around and oh, this isn't right. There's something doesn't smell right here. Go and get a job, kid, sort yourself out, blah, 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 all that nonsense. And that's kind of what Freddie's deal is anyway. That's what I've noticed. Freddie's always there at the right time, when he needs to be. And I think that's what that LARP was. I don't think it was, I think it was, that's what it was supposed to be.
Well, I guess
If you know what I mean, them calling out something and going, no, and all that. I don't know. I can't be sure. Nobody can be sure because I mean, I obviously wasn't involved in it, but only the people involved know the actual truth. All any of us can really do is speculate, like. But I found it very off at the time, and you're saying it, sent alarm signals to you because the people in the stream and whatnot and who was involved.
it was just strange, and just to get back at the question, uh, basically many people that dropped supporting me. An example, well, fucking Freddy got doxxed and threatened via email. I was copied on one of those emails, and I mean, I couldn't blame him. He has kids and stuff, and even if Thomas is just pure bluff or just only a mouth. I guess that as a parent, you can't really take that risk if you have children living with you. And I didn't blame him. I told him that I understood and that it was okay.
I mean, I get that. Okay. I mean, you know, you don't want to put your kids at risk if somebody's sending you kind of information. But you know, Freddie, Freddie's been in with this group of people that are connected to this whole Cicada thing for quite a while. And you know, it doesn't make it's not a surprise to me that you know he would be you know doxxed or threatened. In fact, you know, I experienced it early on with him when there was a bit of paranoia came about over one of the streams that we did. It was the way Week Now reacted with that Jenny Simon girl. And you know, Freddie was getting a bit paranoid then, like, but you know, I kind of took it that you know, talking about leaving and oh, you know, I've got too much to lose and all this stuff. But I kind of felt that that was for my benefit to try and intimidate me because if I saw him concerned, well, maybe I'd be concerned and I'd back off. And it's interesting. I mean, I didn't realize this all the time because I was completely new to all this. I was just a viewer who had come back after a sabbatical, maybe you would call it. And, you know, VOP had kicked off, and you're like, fuck me, that was so obvious. And then the whole thing with DFT kicked off, and Gunk was brought into it. And, you know, it pissed me off. And I'd been around for about 6 weeks before that actually kicked off. And I had been talking about, you know, I was thinking about doing something, I don't know. And the reason, well, I'm not going to go into that, but I ended up, I was planning on updating my computer anyway. I got it updated and whatnot. And I put out the videos about Gunk, and that opened the door for me to be involved with these group of people in a more personal level. Before that, I'd just been a comment in the comment section. But when I put my video up, it opened the door where all of a sudden I had, you know, China the Three praising me, FKM, Freddie praising me, people shouting out my video and whatnot, promoting stuff like that there, good job and all that there stuff. And that opened the door, and I had no knowledge of any of these guys behind the scene, just what I saw on screen. So I had no reason really to doubt anybody, to be honest with you, although I was a little bit, I mean, you're never 100%, you know, sure about a person. And being from where I'm from, that would leave certainly, you know, a cautious type of lifestyle, I would say, or approach to life. And but these people that you're now talking about and I'm talking about, I was involved with them, and as I went along, I realised that you know, I had I had one of these that lady Jethro. I kind of feel now that she was watching me. You know, she was prompting me to see what I'd be talking about, to see what kind of line investigation I was going down and things like that there. And then, of course, traits telling me things as well that I now question. So these people that are involved, because I see them involved with you over this whole Cicada thing, it really did make me question whether or not you were legit. I can only take your word for it. When you tell me you're legit, I can only take your word from it. And I'll take your word for it up until the point that I'm proven wrong. You know, it's the benefit of the doubt. That's all you can do with people, I feel. And if they prove you wrong, then you kick them to the curb and you move on. So I'm curious now. I've seen that since all this kicked off with you, you're still in connection with some of the people from Cicada, and you're still talking about people or the various people and whatnot. I know in my example and what I experienced, those people, I dropped them like a hot brick, and I have no interest in any sort of dealings with them again whatsoever. The odd time they pop on the stream and you know, bit of acknowledgement, and that's that. Like, but I find it, how
I understand.
how do you maintain that circle? Because I couldn't do that.
Okay, let me explain it, and it's an excellent question. This is one thing that has to be really clear. Cicada is not to be blamed here. In the investigations that I made and with evidence, I've come to the conclusion that Thomas infiltrated Cicada back in 2015. I'm gonna maybe talk about specific things, but I'm gonna try to explain as simple as possible.
Yeah.
The puzzles or the group. Imagine a group of friends coming together, and each one of them saying like, "Hey, I did this," and "Hey, I did that." Well, let's put it together and make something with it. That's kind of like how Cicada worked. And Cicada started in 2012, and before 2015, Cicada had zero bad reputation because it was a puzzle that was very oriented to computer savvy persons, hacker level. The puzzles were very complex. Um, then it had its it went viral, and imitators start showing up. One of those imitators was a puzzle that was made on Reddit called PyMobi, and it was a very simple puzzle, but it was particularly a musical puzzle. Well, and the people group up on 4chan and solve it. Now, one characteristic of this puzzle, the PyMobi, was that the prize was the Spear of Destiny in quotation marks. And
so that wasn't the Cicada puzzle.
No, PyMobi was something that Thomas started doing, and with being very smart, he put it out the same day Cicada normally puts out his puzzle. That year, Cicada only put out a message telling people to beware of false path, and it had its sign on it, but it's the only thing that it came out.
Now, was that false path put out before this other puzzle came about, or was it afterwards?
They both came out at the same day. That's the thing. It's Pi Day, and Cicada put out the message, and Thomas put out his puzzle, the PyMobi puzzle, on that same date, because the puzzles were solved in 4chan, and he is very good with multiple accounts and pretending he's another person, blah, blah, blah. He basically built up a narrative, just creating this connection between both puzzles, and then just resuming a lot of things that happened in that chat. He basically got to the real creators of Cicada, and basically he lured them, or yeah, he sold himself out as this great musician. As here, you can use all this music for the puzzle. I have connections here. I was Intel. I was. I mean, I'm Saint Germain, and he lured them, and he basically took over, and everybody that was against him, and this is two characters that are well known in the puzzle community. One of them is Brother Box, and the other one is Nox Populi. There's this two characters that are from the original puzzle that stood up against him, and they were slandered the same way, the exact same way I'm being slandered right now. And there's the channel that has still videos of slandering them, and it's Thomas, and that character in 4chan that built up the narrative, he was called Zeros with a C. This channel that I'm talking about is called I Am Zero, and it has a lot of zeros, and you can see that there's enough evidence to tie this up. Now, the official took over was the moment where he basically kicked out every real Cicada member. He only brought in new, gullible, and easy, like non people that don't like conflict. You know, what he does, or what these people do, is surround themselves by creative people that can lure them either with Cicada or another, um, like aliens. There's a lot of examples, and they make them work for them, like they did to me. And then eventually, when people get up to this nature of these characters, well, they got slandered, they got doxxed. You can't imagine the things, like, just for a quick example, today my girlfriend broke up with me because many things, but basically it was because uh, she started a conversation with Thomas on mail. He started because he goes, if you don't go, if he stops going after you at one moment or in one day, it's because he's probably going after your friends, family, uh, job circle, and stuff. So it
And
is.
do you think? I mean, does Thomas hold this much power? Does he hold the power to be able to, mess about? I mean, yes, you can mess about with somebody with emails and messages and or come into their stream and things like that or whatever. Like, but I mean, actually, physical. Do you feel he has the power to be able to actually do
No.
physical damage and conflict in your personal life away
um,
from the internet?
no. The only power he has is the one you give it to him. You give to him, because at the end it's only words, and that's why I'm still after him, because either way, at the moment that he started threatening me to calling the Sinaloa cartels and telling them that I was a snitch, I would have dropped this whole shit up, because the cartels here are something serious. But I knew he was bluffing, and many things that I've been able to basically own him. It's because I don't fall for his words. The problem is the other people that do, or the people around me that do, and that's where he does the damage. And this whole thing has been basically uh every at one point, and this is something that really pissed me off. At one point, he started putting in my comments that every person that commented or liked my videos, he was gonna get doxxed. And so that's the level. I mean, if you can see what happened to Global Agenda, you can see. I mean, School Play was going after him. What happened to School Play's channel? It was a good channel. It wasn't a Pizzagator. Nothing. His channel disappeared. His Twitter disappeared. His Gmail disappeared, and nobody was talking about it. But Jamie Deluxe, a Pizzagator with just the worst kind of content, has his channel taken down, and everybody makes a big ruckus. And this guy, Schoolplay, I haven't been in contact. I mean, he was investigating Thomas, also was helping me. He's the one that find out all the suck accounts that Thomas uses. And where is he? Nobody. I mean, I tweeted it. I put it in a comment on my video. I re-uploaded a video of him, and nobody said any. Nobody. And that's something that it's like, I don't know what happened to him. or what the conditions were. But Thomas is the moment you engage with him, it's you're putting yourself in the fight, you know. And so many people have been affected uh, internally and even in third parties, you know, viewers. I don't know if you know 7-7 Michelle. At one point, she was threatened by him in the comments, and it was like you said, it was going crazy, and it was because of this this, you know, he's been working on this scam for 3 years. He's not going to let it go that easy. And if you ask me why hasn't it gone anywhere, well, I think that I've gone as much as I can without little to no support in the area of any other channel. Like after what happened to Freddie.
There's what do you mean? What happened to Freddie?
Well, that he got
A
blocked.
field threat.
Yes, and he
I
was
mean,
threatened.
Freddie. People already knew where Freddie was, etc. Sure, he had you know, YouTubers up to his home with him, stay in his house with him for a period of time. You know, people know that. So I mean, I find that a wee bit of, to be honest with you, I feel a wee bit of a lightweight excuse. And also, I mean, if you're that worried, I mean, this is the thing that I noticed, and this is why I asked you about it, because, you know, Freddie and OG and all were all over this, and all of a sudden they dropped it like a hot brick, and yet they're still on YouTube. So there was, you know, the whole fear for my life, but instead I'm not going to talk about Thomas anymore. I'll go and harass the pizza gators instead. And I don't understand that way of thinking at all. I mean, if I was seriously concerned, if I thought somebody was going to put my life in immediate danger and it was connected because of YouTube, man, you would, people just wouldn't hear from me again. I'd be gone. I wouldn't have any more to do it if I felt that's what was happening with me. Um, and I just don't understand how people then come back. And it's the same with treats. You know, I've heard treats talk about being fucking scared, and, you know, people remote viewing, for fuck's sake, all this other. I think that was a bit of an act, but it didn't feel real to me.
I think I can answer that. I got the message really clear from all of them that they were expecting not me not to only uh, expose Thomas. No, they were interested in because I told him in a very light way, you know, that Thomas possibly was connected to all this other stuff. You know, now I know that it is, but
Because
and when they saw that I was putting out videos but not talking about basically what they were expecting, I think that also like maybe drop. I'm not excusing them. I found several things weird, but I know that that Freddie is not the enemy, you know, and in a way that uh, he's not winning anything with what he's doing. He's there's no real reason for why he would do such things. And on the contrary, if you research all the other persons that are involved, that are really involved, they do have a lot of interest putting in here. I mean, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in the whole Cicada brand and logo and stuff. And it's something that, like I said, Thomas has worked for it 3 years, and he's he's doing everything to keep it up, to not fall. I really don't know what happened between uh,
uh,
you guys.
earlier
Uh-huh.
earlier there, some of the people in the chat were asking about, because there's a specific video that Thomas has up where he has a kid, a young child. It's an old video. I think it's like 9 years old or something. You know, singing this obscene song or whatever. People are wondering, is that his son, or is that somebody else, or does he have children?
Yeah, he
Is
has.
his children live with him, that sort of thing? That's what some of the people here have been asking.
No, that's his son from his first marriage, and the kid is going to university. I think that they have little contact, but yeah, I know what video is it. The one that they sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star."
Yeah, that one. It is a wee bit offish, like a bit of a strange one, all right. Some of the other stuff that he puts out, the music and all, is quite interesting. I had contacted him there during the week. I did ask him a question because I was curious on his, one of my last, I think it was the last stream before I was gone for a period of time. I had said about I think a bit of an idea maybe how Thomas goes about things, and I was kind of curious if he had that ability with see whenever you listen to music you see colors and things like that there. Some people do have that, and I was just curious if that was something, because he is a composer and whatnot, and some of the stuff that he's put together is pretty good, and I do have that ability of be able to see colors whenever I'm listening to music. And when I listen to his stuff, it's surprising. It's very different from what the video displays anyway, but that's the word cassette. I can never pronounce it because of my S's. I'm afraid I used to have speech impediment, and S's was always a problem. But anyway, but he's replied to me back to me. Actually, while I was talking to you, he replied back to me saying that no, he doesn't. Something along the lines that he composes in his sleep. Uh, which that in itself is a bit of a gift, you know. Um, my whole ability with seeing the colors, it's not because I always crowd myself with different sounds because um, I'll have a couple of different things on at once, TV, music, whatever, while I'm talking to people, multiple sources. But for me to actually get in the zone and see the colors, I kind of have to sit down and listen to it properly, close the eyes, and I get like I want to say it's a bit like it's not quite like a globe or a ball, but it's kind of like that. We're just with the different notes and whatnot, you'll get different uh, tinges of colors come out from it. Sometimes, if a note is like, I'm not musical, so um, if a note is like on a guitar, if they're really like dragging the note out, it'll the shape, the color will change into shapes, and it'll split away. And I've kind of developed this thing, but how it kind of works for me is when I'm talking to people. Once I'm able to catch on if somebody's not being honest with me, I can hone in on their tones, and I can pick up, like after I can pick up basically what's right and what's wrong from the conversation, or what I'm hearing. Uh, the colors. Somebody's asked me about the colors. Colors are always different. It depends on speed. It depends on the key and whatnot. But it's interesting anyway. I also have another aspect of this freaking thing as well, where my sense of smell is I taste. I can taste things with the sense of smell, and a smell thing. I taste things that you're supposed to be able to that you smell, and I smell things that you taste. If that's the right way of putting it, I don't know if I put that out right, but yeah, it's a weird one. All right, not pleasant, if you live out in the country and they're spreading cow shit or something like that. There, you get to taste it. You know, I do anyway. Not pleasant.
I can maybe explain a theory on what that happens, or why does it happen, if you're interested. And
Well, no, it was just kind of that was kind of along the lines of me, but I was thinking what the Thomas experiences. But he's saying to me that he can compose music in his sleep. Um, Man, I'd love to be able to talk to him about that there, just to see, because I don't have any. I hear other people that have experience what I have. Man, they're able to write music. They're able to see notes in the air, all sorts of crazy crap, and I feel a wee bit cheated because I don't. I don't have that. I can't. I'm not musical at all. I love listening to music and whatnot. Sometimes for different reasons than most people, but um,
uh, uh,
that was my thinking. So, what you're saying there, was that?
sorry. I'm just gonna say that regarding the music and all of that, and I'm not gonna even start about the topic that until now he being a composer is a conspiracy theory.
Well,
Uh,
I did see or hear the performance in Treach's stream, and I did listen back to it a few times. I played it over and over and over. As I said, I got the whole color thing going on there, and I see it's difficult. He's either a very, very talented pianist, or that was done by mechanical means. It was done by a program. That's my theory anyway. Because just the way it goes for me when I listen to it was very, very extremely fluent. But and obviously it didn't. You can't see him playing. He says it's on a keyboard. I I don't know. I can only go off what I experienced, and it just didn't seem. It didn't seem natural.
I'm gonna tell something. I had a lot of trouble with hearing to Thomas' music and knowing his real character. It just didn't fix, because the music that, like the music from the Oculus video, the music is beautiful, and it just didn't fix. It didn't fit on how this, basically just the worst kind of human that I've ever met, could make such beautiful music. It didn't fit, and it bothered me for a while. Then after the investigation and many things that I found, and with the help of others, of course, is that basically the Cicada music, the one that got so popular and famous, he wasn't really the composer, or he's not the source like he claims. It's from another person called Constantine Christodoulou, or either Michael Levine, that made some arrangements. And this is beyond. There's evidence for that. You just have to search it up on on the search bar, Constantine Christodoulou, and you find something related to the Count. I think it's the name. You're gonna listen to the same music of this year's Cicada. Excuse me, last year's Cicada puzzle. So you're talking about a person that it's basically has the worst kind of reputation on the internet. If you search for rip-off reports on this character, he's actually has criminal background, and not only that, he's on parole or probation. I don't remember what was the word. And one of the charges was being cyber stalking, and other rip-off reports, if you read them, is just people that got rip off by him, like over, like not like.
Are you talking about rip-off reports on the internet where people are leaving comments and stuff like that? There, are you talking about that type of thing where there's that
Oh,
website where
I
you
know
can,
that everybody could fill them up. I know
yeah,
that everybody can fill them up. I understand that,
because
but but
that's not.
he actually has a criminal record. I have it. I mean, and I even posted it on Twitter. And like I said, I don't present nothing that doesn't have evidence. I don't. I'm talking like this because I'm just doing that. It's
Well,
comfortable.
you say the criminal record. I mean, is this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last month? Is it?
I think maybe someone in the chat can help me. I can't recall. I can check it out, but it was very, very recent. You know, I think. I mean, he's still on
I'd be
probation.
honest with you. I
Still,
haven't seen anything myself, so I can't verify on that one. So
I
I
can
just
send you a
put
link,
that out there. Um,
but
but
he's still on probation.
I mean, I going down the road that I've been going down this week, and you know what I've seen happen play out in the flat Earth community, because I used to go around the flat Earth channels quite a bit. I found it an interesting topic. It was kind of something you could prove, but you couldn't prove because if you kind of don't believe in them going to the moon, then that's the only way there's a photograph. And the fact that if you go look for a photograph, there actually is no photographs, it's all just composites. And they've got a Hubble telescope up there that all I have to do is turn around and face the Earth, you know, basically. Um, things like that there. So it made me curious, being a bit of a skeptic. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I'm a flat earther. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I had questions, and I still have questions because anytime, you know, flat earth debunkers come up with an answer, it always involves something that's a bit of a theory involved with it, and it's just kind of the same with flat earth. When flat earth come up with something that's a bit, you know, it's like, wow, raises eyebrows, it just ends up leading to 100 different questions. And I feel it's one of those topics that leads to constant research, investigation. Basically, it's the ideal subject to be involved with and make money on, basically, because there's no right or wrong answer, really. You know, but whenever this situation that was speaking about Mellotron played out, um, you know, and the way LARPs have been carried out on you know, YouTube, and the whole MCN came about. That was one of the things that interested me. I never talked about this before, but it was one of the things that interested me when I came back to YouTube. When I hit on China the Three's channel, he was talking a lot about the MCNs, and thinking back to, you know, connecting back to when the whole Mark Sargent debacle came out. And if anybody's interested, you know, in YouTube, just search Mark Sargent exposed. It's SARGANT, I believe, or ENT. Sorry. Uh, Exposed, and you'll see people have done videos, but nobody's really connected the dots beyond that. And I'm starting to wonder, because of this guy's connections to Sony, to Warner Brothers, to Hollywood, to all these things, and the way things have been playing out in the truth community, this whole Q thing and whatnot. I'm kind of wondering, is this guy part of the bigger picture, involved in the bigger picture of who's controlling the narrative for all these invisible categories that's in the truth community. Like as I was explaining, the Mandela, the flat Earth, conspiracy that we didn't go to the moon, and all that other stuff. And my only question really is, basically, does Thomas have any connection to that? Because it seems to me that one way or another, that Cicada has a lot of influence in a lot of channels involved in the truth community. And the fact that everybody was pushing Bitcoin and the cannabis oil, and these were the targets of this Mellotron as well. I guess I'm trying to figure out if there's a connection there or not. I think the guy's name is Joe Real, as in R. I think it's Reihl. His surname is. In fact, I left a comment on your video whenever I was asking you about the stream if you wanted to come on. Real Gone Kid, which is a Deacon Blue song called Real Gone Kid, but it's spelled Real. And I was just curious to see if there is a connection between what Thomas and Cicada is doing and what has happened with the happened within the flat Earth community.
Okay, yes, specifically the flat Earth community, I don't think so. And regarding your question, if he has other connections that control the narrative, it would be absolutely yes. There's I'm going to try to explain it. Okay, so imagine a group of maybe 5 people that well connected, one of them being Thomas. All of them have background in the entertainment industry. All of them have background in conspiracy theories. There, one of them even wrote a blog and a book about mind control, about conspiracy theories, and basically mass manipulation via social media.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
yes.
well, that's exactly what Mark Sargent was doing. With along with this, this Mellotron and Joe Real character, and they're involved also with the stocks, etc. I haven't pieced together entirely how it works. I will get there with it all. I'm confident of that, all right. But I'm seeing the similarities, because now your guy Mark Sargent is known as the father of flat Earth, right? But if you actually download his app and buy his app, aside with all the bullshit that they're able to, access your phone and all the rest of it, but if you give permission, but why would they need that anyway? But it's in there, and he just doesn't talk about flat Earth. He talks about other conspiracy theories as well. He's just not on that subject. And if you actually watch Mark Sargent, he's actually a bit of a nitwit. He doesn't seem to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. To me, anyway. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer either, but he really doesn't seem to be the sharpest knife in the drawer whenever you hear some of his explanations of how flat Earth would work, etc. And as I said, they were pushing the whole, CBC, whatever it was, that cannabis oil, and the whole Bitcoin and the released apps to do with it, etc. And we saw all that come into the truth community at the same time. We saw the truthers, Richie from Boston, all that there pumping out the cannabis oil and Bitcoin. Now it's gold and silver. Bitcoin's kind of died off a wee bit, but I'm confident at some point people will start talking about it again. And I'm at the point, my own personal belief, I'm at the point now where I really do believe that there is a collective running the whole shit show. Now, I don't mean every single channel, because obviously they can't. But if if they're controlling the main narrative from certain channels, and it's trending. They're getting that trending like they do with Q. Then the smaller channels like myself or whatever, are going to hit on that as well, and they'll all fall into line. And you don't need to be you don't need to be in touch with 100 people to be in control of 100 people. You maybe only have to be in control of 10 of them at the most, and the other 100 will follow without even realizing they follow. And that's my feeling about all this. That I believe that the larger entity behind all this is not for more than a motive than to make money. With the Cicada thing, I'm thinking Sony movies, are trying to get a movie, the puzzles and all the rest of it. But I think now that all this has happened, I don't know. I don't know what way things could go for Cicada now.
Okay, let me explain the thing about Cicada again. You have to take out of your mind that it has any kind of government connection, and I'm not saying this as trying to protect myself or anything. I'm just a guy from Mexico.
Okay. Well, one question before you go on any further there. If I had to take out, it's not necessarily the government behind it, but if I am to rule out the government is in charge of it or has been in charge of it, then you have to know who created Cicada. And as far as I'm aware, nobody knows who created Cicada, do they?
That's the thing I was going to explain. Yes, there is a source. I know it and stuff, but it's something that it's normal people, and I'm not bringing them up because they're not guilty of anything.
Yeah.
I can explain why was the government connection narrative pushed on Cicada, and it was because it empowers Cicada. If you say that you're Cicada, and you have the evidence or just the support of vast majority of YouTubers, of people that believe that you're Cicada and that think that Cicada has any kind of government connection, that gives you power. That gives you the power to send an email to a channel and said, you know what, this is Cicada, this is me, Lestat. You know that I'm Cicada, so better do this or stop talking about this, or you're gonna get in trouble. And for someone that believes and or that has the tendency of believing those kind of conspiracy theories is gonna fall for it completely. Now, why am I trying to separate Cicada from Thomas? It's because he never was Cicada. He took over it. If we keep telling people that he's Cicada, that automatically, because of the conspiracy theory, empowers him and just validates him more and more. And I'm telling you, you just have to look for the Pi Mobi puzzle, and it all gonna fit out. He took over it. He kicked out the original creators. He pushed the trademark on it, and I can tell you this.
So
Yes.
does Thomas know who the original creators were of Cicada? Does he not have that knowledge?
There's the thing. Many of the original, like not Papuli, he's a very well-known winner of Cicada puzzle. He was inside. He was totally slandered and trash talked and trolled to death by Thomas. Because he didn't agree with what Thomas was doing, as well as Brother Bar. And that's the source of it is just a group of talented people that got together. The original idea was just to make cool stuff. That was it. It was never about awakening people, or trying to bring emergence, or the next dimensional awakening. All of that esoteric stuff was injected. Why? Because and this with no offense, but old people, and I'm telling, like, people over 50 maybe, just
No, I'm not that old yet.
no, no,
Thank
I'm,
you.
I'm sorry, got lost in
So you're not
translation.
offending me.
No, but let's call it just people over 50 have more trouble getting a hang of it, of the technological part of the hacking, of the cryptography. So if they inject the esoteric stuff, everybody from tarot readers, you just have to make a search on Cicada 3301 right now on YouTube, and you're just gonna see just a variety of people talking about something that they don't really understand or even know what they're talking about. And the easiest part, and the most easy thing, if that you don't want to look bad amongst your audience and just say that you don't know, so you build stuff up, the things you don't understand. You say, yeah, they're from the NSA, CIA, they're Illuminati, blah blah blah, because they're selling them their narrative, and that's something that you can see the change between the earlier Cicada that was very complex, very cryptographic, hack, more to the hack community, and then when Thomas took it over, the music's changed, the puzzle changed, and most importantly, it was injected with all the esoteric and dark, and everything that uh, start bringing bad attention to Cicada. It's when this character shows up. Now, you ask me, why do I still in contact with some people of Cicada, and why do I keep posting on Cicada? Because Cicada is an idea, as the main purpose is to make just this incredible puzzle made by an incredibly talented person. It's awesome. The people that started making up that, well, nobody has find out, that's probably the NSA. Well, the NSA and the CIA use the same recruiting methods. Then they must be, because they don't know, because the people that started it were so good and so uh, just didn't want the attention. They didn't want any movie done, any merchandise. It was not about that. No, and being in this drama, it for people who solved the puzzle, who fell in love with the original idea. All of this drama, all of this circus is so painful. It's just slandering, just throwing count. I worked a lot on the puzzle from 2018. Like, I worked my ass off, in creating the graphics and the videos that unfortunately they did pretty good. People don't know that I did it, and I'm okay with it. But and to see like characters, like, just throwing each time that you call Thomas Cicada, that each time that the Fango says, "Oh, those Cicada people" and stuff, uh, it's grabbing innocent people that were involved. That in my case, I was lured in by Thomas, and all I wanted, and this is to be honest, all I wanted was to do something good for people. That nobody's gonna know that I was, and so, and I was gonna be part of this thing that's gonna make the world better. That was that was my hook, and many others that were recruited by Thomas, and he took advantage of it, and worked and made us work for this. At the end, this conspiracy. I mean, it just finished when we finished doing the 2018 puzzle. Is when the whole Defango thing started, and after that, I have been like nothing more than just first of all fighting a fight that wasn't mine. It was probably invented by Thomas, and then afterwards, just defending this person that at one point I opened my house and gave him attention of a sick person. That is now the first thing that he started calling me was a Satanist, a pedophile. I send emails to my girlfriend telling that I'm bisexual, and just there's a lot of uh, stories out there. No, I'm not the only person that he has done that.
I understand that as well. I've experienced that myself. You know, it's kind of laughable because it more or less comes from the same source all the time. But you know, I get it's not pleasant when people are you feel you want to defend yourself. You feel you have to like, and that's what happened to me. I was getting called a pedophile, or I was dealing in child porn and all the rest of it, and so I absolutely shut the person down. I proved that you know what she was and showed it, what she was doing, and you know I felt validated for doing it there, and in while I was doing it on my own behalf it helps somebody else along the way. But that's ultimately what I feel. Everybody started, you know, having a problem with me about because I'd done that, which led to more and more questions. And it's interesting because you know that Thomas and all, you know, reached out to this, but was talking to this person and whatnot. You know, when all this stuff started going down, you know, the live stream with cheap treats, etc. And I feel that there's become a network of people there to basically get con people and get money out of them um, through whatever means necessary, donations, PayPal, Patreons. Some of these channels have got crazy amount of Patreons. I mean, some of them you're talking 70, 100 Patreons. Like they never show how much money they get a month, but you know, you only have to go along the lines of, well, if everybody drops $5 a month, you got an idea of, you know, what 700 odd Patreons would get you. Um, and it seems quite lucrative. With the Q thing as well, that seems to be like a puzzle. And I don't know, has Cicada been connected? Well, there has been people coming out, Fango has come out claiming that he was part of it from the beginning and then like it took over. And I've seen things of the whole like Cicada versus the crew and whatnot. Is there anything to that? Is that you know is that something that's got misinterpreted along the way, or what basically?
Well, regarding the Q thing, well, first of all, I understand what you're saying, and I think that that's why one of the main reasons that I kept my channel non-monetized. You know, because I didn't want anything that could compromise me on what I was trying to do. You know, and for someone who has his work or does his work based on online clients, well, if you're getting trash like Thomas is doing to me, it's kind of hard to get a client, you know. But uh, and uh, it is lucrative in a way for them just because of the brand, you know. Cicada, as you know, it's a really big topic in a global scale, and I'm not sure about the amount of it, but it's just because of the places that it has been posted, like the Rolling Stones magazine, Al Jazeera news and stuff. It's just I'm calculating easy over maybe $20 million, something like that, maybe more if you know how to. And like I said, uh, they have been working at it for a long time. Now you asked me for about the connections, and I'm gonna go to the QAnon thing in first, eventually, but yes, I'm trying to make sense also of the dates, and you know, trying to make a timeline. And you know, I can tell you this, that the things that all conspiracy theories that this persons are connected point at WikiLeaks. You know, that's something that it's worrying for several reasons. You know, like I said, I was telling you about this people, this group of 5 people that wanted to make a movie, the movie about Saint Germain. This people, uh, one of them, let's basically Thomas, that is the one basically in making the moves and stuff, that is attacking and stuff. Okay, so Thomas is connected to this lady called Yona Miller, and this is really important because of what happened. Yona Miller was called out by her husband on a YouTube channel called Gnostic Media as a CIA spin writer. Okay. Maybe the husband was LARPing to make Yona famous or not, but the fact is that this person, Yona Miller, is directly involved with Thomas, and she's the one that wrote a book about mind control. Okay, now her husband, Richard Miller, is a friend of Thomas, and was referenced several times via emails that were internally sent to Cicada members only. Now, Richard Miller is part of, or was part of, a project called Project Camelot. If you look for it on YouTube, you're gonna see David Wilcock in in the same age as Jordan Sather. They are both connected through Robert David Steele. Robert David Steele at the same time is connected to Frank Bacon. Robert David Steele is the direct connection between Thomas and the group of David Wilcock, Corey Good, and David Icke. Okay. Project Camelot was the genesis of Gaia TV. Okay. Now, one other character is a person called Lisa Clapier. Okay. And this is a really important character that nobody mentions, but it's so vital, and it's one that operates in the shadows, obviously. This person also goes by the name of Pista Sophia, unanimous, activist in media, and she has a worse criminal record than Thomas. I mean, she ran over her husband, and has many other crimes, but she went. I think that they dropped the charges on the running over the husband's thing. But anyway, she has been in jail. Now, this person, Lisa Clapier, is the person that basically hijacked and mixed the follow the white rabbit hashtag from Cicada and the Cicada puzzle uh, from and mixed it with the follow Snow White. People that are aware of the QAnon from the start are going to remember that at one point the Snow White character was very relevant. Well, this person took that persona and has been pushing QAnon ever since. Now, this same person, Lisa Clapier, is an activist, kind of like an infamous activist character. You know, she has been in the Occupy movement, the one that and she has been over. She and Thomas has been over WikiLeaks for a long time. Today, I just discovered that Thomas not only hijacked Cicada, but he also was trying to hijack Anonymous Scandinavia. Anonymous Scandinavia is is a trusted friend, I can call it that way, of WikiLeaks, and it's and he does that by, you know, Unanimous Scandinavia just posts something, and he comments with a stock account that I have evidence that it's him, and basically says, answers, "Oh, thanks for the info, T," like saying like Thomas, and wink, wink, and stuff like that, and so when he approaches people, and he says, and he sells himself like, "Oh well, I know WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and blah blah blah. Yeah, you should check out the comments on the what Anonymous Scandinavia posted." Sorry, and then you go look and you see like this several accounts like referencing T or Thomas, or like this little cicada innuendos, and just, and does it over and over, until he eventually hijacks or steals the person's reputation, like he did with Cicada. Now, the thing with that is that you can see that Unity 4J. I don't know if you know of this movement. Unity 4J is a movement that has many characters involved, including Jimmy Dore, Jack Posevic, Kim.com, Susie 3D. There's a bunch of characters, and it's a scam. And it's a scam that works by recruiting people to create merchandise of WikiLeaks and sell them on on a on a website. I was recruited on that group, that Unity 4J, because I just wanted to know what was going on. And I started doing some graphics. My graphics got chosen and were featured in a post, you know, and shared everywhere. And then I noticed that this character, Lisa Clapier, or as she goes in Discord as Pistis Sophia, was one of the persons in charge there that contacted me and was very happy because I was helping them out, blah, blah, blah. And then at one moment, I remember that the Q movement went after Julian Assange's mother. They started harassing them. And I noticed the action, and I went over to the Discord and asked them, why aren't you doing anything? You know, like this Q people are, and they just, you know, this character Pistis Sophia just intercept me right away because I was making a mess in the Discord chat, you know, just calling them out, and that's when I noticed that this person was in charge, and that Unity 4J, it's like I said, it has many characters, important characters involved. This person, Lisa Clapier, I had the opportunity to talk to a person on Discord that it's basically, you can call it one of her followers. And this girl, or this lady, I don't know, and I have it all documented. We started talking about, you know, the puzzle and stuff, and I started asking about this Pistis Sophia character. And I asked her if she was Q, if she was Snow White, and stuff. And I got really interesting answers, but I think the biggest red flag was when she started talking about this character like she was some kind of god. You know, that she lived in inner earth, that she didn't need it to eat, that she was in the global movement of awakening, you know, that she knew WikiLeaks, and just the range, from starting from a very well conversation, it deformed into this fanatical, just over the top, wrong, and she believed it. You know, she really think that of her, that all of those lies, and then you can see in the document that later on, that same person that was talking so deranged about this character is the same person that recruits me for Unity 4J. You know, now, if you want to tie it up, I have the screenshot of when Raditz from the Patriot Soapbox introduces herself in Unity 4J. and everybody's like, oh yeah, welcome, and blah blah. And you can see another reference if you're on Twitter. There's this character named hashtag 72 seconds that he has constantly, at least once a day or several times a day, he mixes Cicada, QAnon, WikiLeaks, and Julian Assange. He posts things like, "Oh, Vault 7, 777, and 17Q. Cicada is Julian Assange Cicada." And he has a lot of followers, and he just plants those seeds. And I've called him out so many times and made fun of him so many times because he just and it's a constant push, and all of those were connected eventually via even IP, same server, all the websites from the Q, from the Backyard Brawl, from Unity 48, and bunch of other conspiracies were all in the same server at one point. Now, if this is not telling enough, you can see just how you call it. You told me about the crypto thing. You know why they push crypto? Because it's untraceable.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
I understand that it sounds murky at itself, the whole crypto thing, but it's just a perfect way for them to use it, and of course they will promote it, because if the boat sinks, they can catch out without any problem. Not like they got canceled their PayPal and stuff. No, now remember Isaac Cappy. Isaac Cappy and Nathan Show said specifically, the one that was handling him, he called all his media stuff and whatever, he was Thomas Schoenberg. He said it himself. And Nathan immediately warned him about it, and he said something really critical is that make sure that any decision you make or choice you make, you are the one making it. Something like that. And
Did he not backtrack or something and claim Liz Crokin or something like that as well, or did he add Liz Crokin into the mix at the same time? I can't remember. I can remember Thomas being mentioned, and I do remember Liz Crokin being mentioned as well.
Yeah, but he says that, oh yeah, it's Liz Crokin, and then he says, oh no, wait, it's one of the Cicada guys. Yeah, Thomas. That's what it said. Now, if you want to tie it up even further, just if remember the first thing that Thomas told me or called me out, it was a pedophile and a Satanist. No, that's another big red flag.
That's the trending topic on YouTube at the moment, isn't it, in this community?
And many things, like what's another example? He controls Titus Frost. Titus Frost has said it himself that he worked with Thomas Schoenberg. And he's and he has a Christian following. And I asked him this on Twitter because I have evidence of Thomas saying that he was going to practice chaos magic on me, so I would, fail on my endeavor. And I asked Titus, like, hey, are you so Christian and stuff, and you're working with this guy to practice chaos magic? And never got an answer, but he still goes on and slanders me. And it's like,
listen, that's the first qualification on your CV as a tripper. You have to be a Republican, and a God-fearing Republican at that, it seems, these days. I don't see too many Democrat trippers about anymore for some reason, but yeah, so I mean, I would take nothing if he says, he's a God-fearing Christian. I wouldn't take that. I'd take it as a pinch of salt. But
yeah, and do you remember Tracy Beans?
Oh yeah.
He has always denied, and there's several videos when he comments that he has never talked with Crazy Beans and stuff. Well, on Twitter, I posted a conversation that was between Thomas, Crazy Beans, and me when he presented me to her, and they look like really good friends. So that you have like another connection to tie it up.
Well, you
Now,
see, that's another wee network that we were all kind of looking at, only for different reasons, as you well know. Um, Everybody in the chat, I'm sure, knows that it was all over the DFT thing because these Pizzagate channels wouldn't talk about him in any shape or form, and when we pressed them on it, they just came out and give us dogs abuse, and rightly so to an extent. OG is right. They call them trolls, they call them call us pedos, all the crap of the day, like, and they refuse to talk about this. To acknowledge the whole DFT thing. Now, the thing about DFT is, before he got his channel down, he was quite successful on YouTube as far as pumping out conspiracy and information regarding Hillary Clinton and the body counts and all the freaking nonsense around her. And he lost his channel. I believe it's because he had made a threat against Hillary, and Secret Service basically took it down via YouTube, and because he had told us as much as that, and he got his channel back up, and he's 30,000 subs. Now he doesn't get 30,000 views on his videos, but he does get. There is some of the videos that go quite high up there, and he's obviously making money. Does he keep all that money himself? And if you look, he's got a GoFundMe, and that GoFundMe itself, you'll see like $500 donations in there. And I'm like, fuck me. Who in the right mind is going to give $500 to anybody just because they talk about a load of frigging conspiracy stuff on the internet? But people apparently do. And he's managed to raise like nearly $4,000 in his GoFundMe. And I noticed another channel just before, I think it was, or it may have been after receiving a $500 donation whenever through GoFundMe, whenever the Corsi emails were being pushed out with, you remember with the Fango and Unirock? And this apparently it was Truth Convoy was the other one. Well, she had received a payment, so she had for $500 in her GoFundMe in and around the date where that was being done. And when I started looking at these $500 and whatnot, I'm kind of thinking to myself, is this payment for playing a role? Is this, what is it? Or is it just coincidental and something completely innocent? Am I just, one-on-one getting three? But a lot of these channels that you're talking about, that we've been talking about over the 7 months ago when this DFT came to light, there's a lot of money involved, one way or another. And this whole thing about, well, I don't take money and all. I mean, I say the same thing on my channel, but ultimately that is not proof of anything. People can still receive money one way or another. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm so skeptical of the internet that if I want to buy anything off the internet, I go to my friend and I use his accounts to get something because I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't use eBay, I don't use Amazon, I don't use anything like that. But if I see something, I'll use him and he'll get it for me or whatever. Like, because I just don't trust the way all this is. The way it's just not for me. So it's not in that regard. And but channels saying, "Oh, I don't take money," and this that. Ultimately, it's not proof that nobody's not getting paid in the background. I do personally have a problem with channels, with Patreons and whatnot, because especially when they're not transparent with it. If they were transparent with it, it would be a wee bit easier. But I think when you bring money in this situation, people start working for the money instead of the truth, and that's whenever a lot of grey areas start to come in, and that's when people will pump out, you know, just any old, basically, circumstantial photograph that may or may not look a bit dodgy, uh, given the context. It's something that I've talked about recently as well. But these channels seem to group together. They're ultimately not in an MCN like Disney, like PewDiePie. I think Disney. He's got something to do with Disney. Titus Frost isn't in anything like that there, but there's obvious networking going on in the background. There's obvious planning going on in the background, and especially with the VOP, it was the VOP one that really, you know, uh, it was obvious there was something not right, but then it involved people from outside the group. Your guy Sawyer Sawdust, um, he was involved in that there, which that was the first kind of flag, that the fact that he was even down there. But then he's got tie-ins to freaking what do you call him, Alex Jones, and then a lot of these channels end up on Hagman and Hagman as well. And that's a big freaking show, 100 odd thousand subs and whatnot, and it's been going a long time. It talks about, it's a Republican show to start with, and I think they're based down in Texas as well, and Alex is down in Texas, and Sawyer's been in Jones' show and whatnot. And then I find out that Honeybee knows Sawyer as well, that she's aware of his work, etc., and vouches for him and things like that there. And you're just like, okay, so, it's maybe not too far-fetched now to start to think that there's a greater scheme at hand, and the hand is basically to generate conspiracy, to suck in the audience, give the audience what they want, because the truth community has turned into like a drama now from what it was 2 years ago, since all these characters come on the scene. And, it's generating a lot of money through t-shirt sales, through PayPals, you know, um, super chats, Patreons, GoFundMe's. It would be crazy, if somebody started a channel just to go around and add up how much money they reckon people have collected over the last year through all these things. There was that guy that supposedly his apartment burnt down and whatnot, and he was another God-fearing Christian. There was something off about that guy as well. I honestly don't know what the result was there, but I know it was very, very skeptical. And especially when we see these when we were seeing these things happen, like, do you remember the car accident? The car driving into everybody after the election? Yeah.
Yeah, the limousine.
Well, when we're seeing things like that there happen, and then afterwards victims are putting up GoFundMe pages, and they're getting tens of thousands of dollars. Some of them got five-figure numbers. And Causey, yes, you're right. The whole VOP thing, gift cards. They wouldn't take money. They were getting the gift cards for Burger King, fuel cards, cards for friggin' B&Q or whatever the equivalent is, Walmart and all that there. Things like that there. But there's incredible amounts of money. And I'm saying to myself, these people have got like, $70,000 from a GoFundMe. Is that money all theirs? Is this a payment through a third party for everybody that took part? Or it's all very skeptical and questionable. And when you start realizing, I mean, we're not talking just a couple of people here. We're talking, if you start off you've got Thomas, right, and then you've got what do you call him? Titus Frost saying he's connected to Thomas, and then you've got Titus who's connected to Honeybee, who's connected to Ransom Fran, who's they're connected to Tracy Baines, they're connected to Tom Sawyer, they're all connected to Hagman. Well, some of the girls are connected to Hagman and Hagman. That's connected to Alex Jones. Hagman's on Alex Jones quite a bit, or had been anyway, because I've seen him on it quite a few times. And all these connections, and there is a clear and present LARP at work, and you have to say to yourself, like, this is not an accident. Somebody is getting money out of this. Somebody is making a lot of money. And when you see the behavior, the way some of these YouTubers got on, especially with the VOP LARP, Titus Frost, he was telling his subs, get your guns and head down to Arizona, and if you see any of these, flipping human traffickers, whatever, he didn't call them that, he called them something else, take care of business. And he was very emotional about it. And, it was rebel rousing. That's what it was. Now, I know that guy is smart enough that he would not do that. I don't believe he would do it. I believe it was deliberate and he was prompted to do that. And of course, I mentioned it in one of my videos that I had up. China the 3 mentioned it. Other people mentioned that he had done this. And of course, through me trying to, make Titus look like a LARP, I end up promoting his crap at the same time. And all it's doing, really, at the end of the day, is, not really having much of an impact on, enlightening people. And for the people who see it and take offense to it, they don't care. They don't care what you have to say. It's like the whole Dave T thing. His viewers didn't care. Most of them thought we're liars. Most of them thought we're bullshitters. And, that's what I'm starting to realize about this drift community. If you try to say anything, the collective of people who are watching all this play out don't care what people like me have to say or people like you have to say about what you're experiencing or what you've witnessed. The majority don't care. In fact, you'll find that beyond the people that are subscribed to my channel, very few people will get to, probably ever listen to this. And, most of these people that are subscribed to my channel have probably interacted with a lot of the videos that are already available out there. And the rest of the world don't care. And the people who are behind it know this. And I believe at one time they might have been worried about it. They might have been like, oh shit, what are we going to do now? But they rid the storm and people didn't care. If people don't care about a pedophile on social media, and there's young children, teens and whatnot about there, etc., that he can get in contact with, the way people start up discords and whatnot, it can turn into something bad real fast. People don't care. They're not interested. They're more content to call me the liar and tell me to move on. This guy's a lovely guy. He puts out good content and all. That's what they'll say, and they'll say you're full of shit. So I guess what I feel that the group of people or whoever is orchestrating this at the top here they're very comfortable in what they're doing, very comfortable, and it's a shame because it makes it very difficult for you or myself to make, and even Freddie and OG for what they do. It makes it very difficult for and other drifters that are fed up with it all. to make any type of headway beyond our subscriber base, because we don't get into the, you know, the algorithm. We don't get watched. We don't get promoted and whatnot. You know.
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to intervene.
Yeah, go ahead.
You were talking about the whole money thing, and I agree. First of all, you gotta think about that they are marketers, you know, so they will do tricks like donating to themselves, but you have to give me the money back, because just, you know, seeing it, like when you are in a restaurant and it says tips and it already has like some money in it, you know, that helps you put in, give you the confidence to put in money. That is just an example, but think of it like this. You know, all of them are greedy as shit. Okay, all of them. What they offer is viewers, subscribers, likes, and stuff, and they're gonna tell you this that, well, or either way, it's the most logical step is that if you're gonna have a channel with audience, with views and stuff that we're gonna invest, then you better make it monetized. You know, you better put out a Patreon, so we can send you people and we can put you money inside, and other people will. And you know, not only that, because if your channel is successful and we are able to do the next Nathan, like, because Nathan is the trampoline of all the major LARPs and that are going around, well, it's then you will have to obey. You know, otherwise we're, you know, you know, just end your channel. Even who knows? And here's another thing: the if you follow the trail of the money, there's another investigation that I really had to stop searching, because it came to a point that it was obvious that it was dangerous to go on. But most of the donation, at least from the from a big part of the QAnon group, from the main core, it goes funneled to a Bitcoin account. Now that Bitcoin account, I don't want to talk it too much, but let's say that from that they do their gymnastics with the money, and they share it with the inner group, and it's just an example of a way of organizing and using crypto as a anonymous way of of making financial exchanges. Now it's all of them will have a monetized channel, will have a Patreon, will sell their products. All of them will sell the same kind of flashlight, of Patriot flashlight, or gold, or the same stuff, because it's the same people or the same type of sponsors that they're going to get. You know, and of course that they're going to abide to those requests, because at their time, you know, they were helped out. They invest. They even probably send mods to them if they don't have it at the start. It's just and I'm just uh, making this up on the go. But if you plan it even better in a more pyramidal way, maybe, well, it's gonna it's gonna it's completely doable, or I don't see it as a long stretch as to make that kind of operation, where you can see that people are either compelled by greed, or they're always about the donos, or either way, just simple reputation, simple that I want recognition. You know, many of those the people that are involved are either ex-cons, or were in the in jail, or failed actors from Hollywood, failed script writers, failed blah blah, or people that are sick. And I'm not saying like this everyone, but it's just an example. You know that you know at least two or three of with the characteristics that I named you with, and so that's why it's I find it in my way of thinking that it's a really important point to see who is asking for money and who's not. Because I don't know if you've seen latest Unirock videos that he started to make. Like with Unirock, I've been super patient and stuff, but the last time I tried to tell him, like, to like help him about the just the cover up that he was making or just misinformation, I don't know, but he was just all over the place, and I tried to, like, not in a you can say it not in a rude way or anything, but he just basically told me, you know what, let's that I want to hear about it. I'm busy right now. I don't want you to mention him again, or I'll kick you out. I was like, what the fuck? And then I got angry and told him to suck a dick and yeah, kick me out, and he did. You know, but it's just an example that I've told him that, what do you need for me to pay you so I could get attention? And he's like, no, send me an email, blah blah blah. I've tried to explain. I mean, it's illogical. They do absurd illogical things. Like, for example, I'm there in the chat, like, trying to help him out. He's talking about Cicada, a topic that he obviously doesn't know about, and he completely decides to ignore, even if it's well known that, in any way you can say that I'm deeply involved in that chat, and he would just bring out, and this thing that has happened, other people have noticed, other people have left Unirock because they noticed it, and like I ended up with fucking Freddy in China because I went with every YouTuber, like, truther, because I didn't want to do this, what I'm doing right now, because I'm a, you can say, an introverted person. I've never shown my face before on the internet, but less on YouTube. And I told everybody, like, you know, I'll help you out. You don't have to say my name, whatever. You don't. You can take all the glory and stuff, but, you know, just help me out. This stuff is getting dangerous, and all the things that have happened, you know. And each one of them just told me no. I got, at one point, I got tired of asking for help. You know, like, I asked the Fango for help when I was going after Thomas before he started. Because there's another thing, like, I tried to be nice with the Fango and stuff, but I asked him, like, what's going on? Why are you saying this, that where the evidence that I have tells the other thing? You know, because he's saying, people don't believe him because he make it sound like, oh no, it was all planned. It was just all part of my genius and stuff. And like you said, the viewers are not dumb and know that he has changed the story, like, so many times, and has been caught and is an admitted liar, and he's telling people that he's a troll, but asking them to trust him is like, dude, I told him, you make it impossible to help. Like, I really don't think that you're the enemy, but you're I have evidence of an article from 2016. It's basically telling the whole Q operation, and that doesn't explain then what the Fango says, because I wasn't involved in the Q thing. You know, even if I wasn't around in Cicada when that whole thing started, like, I was against it from the start. I never ever liked it, and that's why it also hurtful when people say, like, Q Cicada, blah, 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 because the only people that were involved, you can say that from Cicada, was Thomas. You know, it was Thomas. It was the only one, because everybody else thought it was an awful idea, that it would end up in a shitty situation, and you can see what happened. You know, like, I've always been against it, and and I asked the family, you know, talk to me, let's talk, let's give me a phone call,
and stuff, and he's like, no. I'm like, dude, why don't you want to talk to me? Like, let's string things out. If you're telling the truth, and then I've seen that there's not going to be a problem with the evidence or the questions that I have for you. Like, why do you forgive Thomas? Like, why do you make a show with him and saying that it was all okay after you sworn to bring him down, and now you're telling that you've always been against him? Like, that doesn't make any sense. The people know that. People notice that. And like, the other thing, why did that microchipped guy suddenly popped up all of a sudden when from the start I never ever met that guy, like, even mentioned? And why did Jack Posevic, after I talked to the Fango, like, said that the Fango was a clown, blah blah blah, but then Jack Posevic brought up the microchip guy, and then the Fango started promoting microchip, or just endorsing, or whatever you want to call it. And then this girl Ginger McQueen, this redhead, awesome boobs, from Twitter, starts promoting the Fango. And then it's like, why do you expect? He's basically like telling me to trust his plan. Like, dude. and you know, I don't know what really happened in the concoction and in the and the real plan of whatever he was doing, or both of them were doing. But what I know is the evidence that I found, and the inconsistencies that many other people noticed. You know, why was the video all glitchy and stuff? And many other things that I'm sure that bother the viewers also bother me. And so I can't really endorse or support the Fango until I get it clear. And you know, because I'm not going to let myself look dumb or deceitful by just supporting him, because I'm going to get the Fango also to support me in my battle against Thomas. Because I asked the Fango, you know, help me out with Thomas. You were against him all this time. And he told me, like, no, I don't want any trouble with him. I'm out, blah, blah, blah. The next day, he's making a video talking shit about Thomas. And like, dude, and so it's like, why don't you be honest with me if you expect me to be on your side? So that whole, I don't even know why he wants to be acknowledged as the one that created, because you know that QAnon is under investigation. You know, many people don't think of it, but we actually have reported this this thing that is happening. There's I can't really give more details about it, but there are processes, and it's, you know, I'm trying to make it as less dramatic as possible, but it's like these people do want it to go full out. You know, if you notice my videos and all that I do, I basically don't talk. You know, it's just their own words, just evidence. At one point, I'm also trying to help out and educate the viewers on why they were duped, or why they feel that they fell for it, or whatever you want to call it. And well, that's one of the things that you can say, that it's, that's why this QAnon doesn't go away. You see the videos, and the guy from Patriot Soapbox just messing around with him, calling him Baldy, that, oh, a 30-year-old playing video games and blah blah. It's because of and I don't know why the Fango gets angry at it. It's the reputation. It's like his actions and a way that he can't really make the people to believe him, you know. And that thing just reinforced that, no, they're, all of them are chills, are just trying to get us distract us, and just reinforce even more the conspiracy theory. you know, even it just gives them free publicity. That's why it hasn't go away, because you know, Unirock was pushing a different story. And at one point, I remember both of them just when they sent after Q blew up on the mainstream media. I remember Unirock and the Fango talking and sending at the same time to the mainstream medias an email, and it was, they were both blaming basically Thomas. And I remember because I got angry at them for doing that. And so why the change of heart? Why is now Unirock asking people to take Thomas out of the equation? Why is suddenly the Fango against Thomas or like brought up again? I know why, in part because I started going against Thomas, and Thomas he was threatening me with the Fango, like he was trying to put him against me, but and just backfired at him, but and like many things, but it is things that that I also that just that I understand why the people are like that, and it's just like, do you want the recognition, the street rep? Why is it so important? Because as soon as somebody starts talking about the Fango, QAnon, or who invented it, the Fango just jumps to at them and just, hey, it was me, it was me, it was me. And it's not the way you know to do things, and like it's. I really wanted to fix this, but at one point, only few things I'm going to be able to do alone. And I understand that people are maybe not grasping things, but I think that if you see the videos that I made, like really see them, because that's something I told Unirock, like, you complain that you don't understand what I'm saying, but I'm sure that you haven't shed one of my videos. And not because I want the views, nothing like that. It's just fucking just, how do you pretend to, how do you intend to understand? You want it spoon fed to you? You need your mods or your whatever to go get them for you? Just digest it, you know? And it's, so I asked Unira for help. The first time when I went after War Drummer, he said no. The second time when I went after Thomas, the same goes for the Fango. I asked him help for both of them. When I had to kick out Thomas from my house because I challenged him to play a song in the piano and he couldn't, I went to Nathan and I gave Nathan the confidence to go check in I gave him my username and password for my Gmail account so he could verify that Thomas didn't, the conversation that went on, because I was scared and also knew how Thomas played things and he was going to twist it. So I tried to get people on my side, and innocently you can say that I thought that Nathan was against Thomas and that he didn't trust him. I went, and also because I tried to be his friend, you know, I made an intro and stuff. And so I told him the same day that everything happened. I called him on Skype, I explained him, and he was like all surprised, and he told me that congratulations, that you just solved the puzzle and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna check it out. And stuff. And you know, Nathan told out on me with Thomas, that just sold me out. He said, oh, Lestat really wanted me to go after you, and there's the evidence from one of the videos. And he says, oh, but I found a couple of few golden nuggets and stuff. And so it was really just disappointing at one point. Then I went with this ice cream with Titus at one point, and I was offered, you know, to at one point to go and just show up and talk about stuff, and you just want to make things clear. I was never given the opportunity, and also, you know, I really whatever. But it's been harder than it looked, and I ended up with fucking Freddie and China because they were the only ones that were willing to listen to me, that pay attention, and were actually the only ones that actually did something at one point given on, and I'm thankful for that because nobody else did. And my channel wasn't.
Yeah, but they bottled it, you know. I mean, they didn't even bottle it. I mean, see, look, from my point of view, now, and having the experience of what I experienced with them, and this is now to being bitter or anything like that, there, it's just basically, you know, looking back and seeing how things played out when I was involved with these people, and how it quickly changed as soon as I, you know, woke up to it. You know, when I see these people now involved in trying to help you, it screams, it absolutely screams at me that something is really wrong. And I personally feel that you know, I don't know if you reached out to them or they reached out to you for you know, to try and help you or whatever it was, but you know, eh, you were doomed from the start, basically. You know, you were never going to get anywhere with it. And, you know, the thing about this for people like myself, I mean, I'm just somebody who's part of this community, basically, who watches videos like anybody else. Um, you know, I'm not here for YouTube fame or any of that nonsense. But basically, for people like me, etc., you know, this whole the Thomas and the Cicada thing. This is kind of like, this is your thing. This is the journey that you've ended up on, and anybody else, you know, all you can really do is say, look, this is what's happened. Uh, Here's what I've got that backs up what I'm saying. It's all out there. Believe me, don't believe me, it's up to yourselves, but this is how it is. Because you know, apart from a small section of this community, and most of them will watch this stream, I believe that, I honestly do. Uh, Everybody else really doesn't give a toss. And I don't mean that, I'm not trying to insult you in any shape or form there. You know, they really don't. It's just drama to them, and you know, it's a little bit of a, you know, game trying to work out what's what and all the rest of it in their head, like a puzzle. It's like a dramatic puzzle, basically, for everybody. And you know, I personally didn't feel that you had gotten the chance to clearly put across, you know, what was actually happening, what had happened, and what you would like to see as the end result, where you're aiming to wanting this to go. And that was part of the reason why, you know, I wanted, whenever you said to me about, you know, coming on that live stream, I was like, yep, bang on, because then he gets the chance, he can say what he has to say. He'll not be interrupted, he'll not be, you know, he doesn't have three other people to try and contend with. The chat aren't going to be assholes. For 99% of the night here, the chat has been pretty on point and well behaved with things. They've got their own ideas and whatnot, but most of the time they've been pretty respectful. Um, and that's what I was kind of looking to do. If I can get you putting your point across, and see if I could get Thomas to come and talk to me and tell me what he has to say. I don't know if I could possibly get the two of you together after that to actually, you know, thrash it out. And I don't mean be nasty. I don't mean sit and, you know, call each other's names and all that, or make threats, or, you know, wanting to fucking try and ruin somebody's life or anything like that there, because that's bullshit. But I think two grown men with obvious intelligence should be able to sit down and say, right, here's my problem. Why are we doing this? You know, don't want this, don't want that. And whatever the outcome, I mean, I don't know what way it works out for you. I definitely I see a lot of similarities of what you're experiencing and what I kind of experienced as well. Um, and that's all I basically did is I put out there what I had to say, and I was fortunate enough that there was a group of people who witnessed of what I experienced, and spoke up for me basically. And I think that's because there's that many different versions, there's that many different variations, there's that many people trying to point out what this he said that something you've said. Well, that's not true. He's no idea. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He wasn't there at that time, and nobody has a clue who these people are really. And then somebody else will say, well, that's not true, or that is true, and there's just that many different variations going around that I feel really the two people that I know 100% that this concerns is yourself and Thomas. And I think, it's not that I would like Thomas to come and explain himself or anything like that there, but I would definitely, like to hear what he has to say on it. Give not so much a response to what you said, but basically tell me his journey, what's going on here. And I don't know if the whole Thomas thing is in the back burner or something to do with the whole financial side of things and what goes on YouTube. But I know that even before this started up with you, I know that with the Cappy thing, I mean, it certainly raised. I watched that stream that night, by the way. It certainly raised the eyebrows whenever he mentioned Thomas. The Cappy mentioned Thomas, and it raised eyebrows that he turned around and said he contacted NSA through the keyboards. I'm like, what the hell? That was a very absurd thing to say, and Thomas, as your media freaking that didn't seem to go anywhere anyway. And the fact that Lift the Veil's involved as well, I mean, that's another rabbit hole. That fella is just like he's across various platforms in the truth community that all seem to be pushing LARPs. He's in the flat Earth pushing LARPs. He's done the Mandela pushing LARPs. He's in now. He's done the Cappy LARP. He's did the SRA LARP with what do you call him, Vegan Mikey. He had David Shorter on his show that as part of this whole SRA thing. And we all know, well, most people, again, I'm 100% sure, who watch this stream all know who David Shorter is and all know what he has put out there in videos and what his claims are. And it's pretty sickening. And the fact that, Lift the Veil will have this nonsense and call it, research or evidence of SRA and whatnot. Another point is satanic, this crap never didn't exist like 30 years ago. All this is called paganism, basically. That's what it was all known as. But I guess for them, I think the majority of people are beyond the who's, the whys, the whats of what's being pushed around the truth community. I think the majority of people now are at the point of where, do you know what? Who's behind the curtain? Who's the wizard? And that's what the majority of people are looking for. Some people are thinking it is Thomas. Some people are thinking it's Alex Jones. Some people are thinking other ideas on who's behind it all. Some people think an alphabet agency's behind it and whatnot. But what certainly is obvious to me anyway is money is involved. And You know, the one thing that would definitely clear a lot of things up, and I remember saying this 7 months ago, whenever this Cappy thing started off, was Rico. You know, at some point or another, surely the feds are going to start investigating what's going on here, and if they don't, I mean, is that an admission of who is behind what goes on YouTube and what gets put on YouTube, what gets promoted on YouTube?
No, just like I said, it just the power that you give Thomas is gonna be the reach. He doesn't he doesn't have the economic influence that much, other than his words. He's he has basically nothing. And just as a sideways, there's a in the chat room. There's a character named Jared,
Yes,
and
I've
I
seen that
I'm
before.
seeing that he's talking about just nonsense about the real story, and I'm gonna read an email that I got from him. And anyone that wants the original email can send me an email, and I'll reply back. And it says, "Urgent." That's the uh, topic. It says, "Hey man, just wanted to warn you." Oh shit, my cat. Okay. "Hey man, just wanted to warn you. I know you don't trust me, but I feel you need to know. I think Nathan, Titus, Thomas, and DeFango have all teamed up, and they have your address as well as your uncle's. They plan to leak to Mexican gangs that you are a snitch if you keep attacking them." And then he sends me 4 attachments, and I'm gonna send you the it's an attachment of of a chat. I don't know if you can maybe just so you can see, because he's uh bothering people in the chat. So just so you can see the evidence that they have, it's a chat, but it's edited. The text is with purple big letters, like uh, so a little bit obvious. And it says something like, "This concludes my investigation." It's just false evidence that it's sent by this character. And I answer him back, and it says like, and I answer him, "Hey trader, you like to stream? I'm not wasting my time reading your shit." And then he answers back and says, "I was just looking out for you, same as Fargness was. See, you twist things around, and this is how you create your own enemies." So that's the person that is currently trash talking in the chat.
Yeah,
Just as I mean that I wanted to clear that up. And regarding the other thing, I think that people, the moment you care about something in YouTube is the moment you lose. If it really doesn't affect you in a direct way, like, I don't know, whatever direct way you can come up with, you don't really, because that's what they look for when they show you all of that SRA or pedophilia.
well, yeah, that's why they pick those topics, because those topics. I mean, that's why Pizzagate came about. There's no way Pizzagate was anything more than circumstantial at best. At the very reach, it was circumstantial. Yeah, there may be some dubious things. I mean, codes and whatnot. Were they codes? You know, I talked about this last time in one of my streams about you know, there's pizzas actually being sold for like freaking 12,000 in real life. You know, the way the rich eat. You know, the fancy freaking truffles and all that shit flown in from Italy, dug up by some fucking pig somewhere. But I mean, uh, but Pizzagate seemed to me to be more designed to startle people, hit home, hard hitting. I mean, and it hooked a lot of people, me included. It got me in there pretty quick too. I was hooked. I caught on pretty quick though as well, and it was actually semen. I caught on to him lying, so that for me was I was able to confirm that he was full of shit. Personally, for myself, you know, I can't convince anybody else of that, but and the way the public reacted, or the way people on YouTube reacted to Pizzagate, was like, wow. I mean, I hadn't seen anything like it on YouTube, and it became a story. But you know, if you notice, some of those, like Honeybee has no presence in YouTube anymore. She's very rarely ever puts a video out, or rarely puts out a stream or anything. She's absolutely no presence. She doesn't talk about it anymore. And for the most part, Pizzagate is dead and buried. And the reality is that every single channel involved there, should they be innocent or purposely do it, took it nowhere, got nowhere with it. There wasn't one shred of evidence that was able to go beyond circumstantial or coincidental, or whatever way you want to put it. And after all this time, and the shock value has went away from it, the SRA and the vegan Mikey and you know, Cappy in the summer, that to me, you know, that was just a replay of Pizzagate. You know, many people joked Pizzagate 2.0 or whatever. And that was the shock value straight away, just like Pizzagate had, except there was no political season. There wasn't as many people using YouTube in the same way that there were before, you know, the Trump being elected. So, but there was a hell of a lot of money raised from that. The amount of money, I have no idea, but I've heard people talk like over 100K from Cappy alone. Like, I don't know if there's any truth in it. You can't rely on rumor as truth, but I'm pretty sure there was a lot of money, and I'd be confident in saying tens of thousands of dollars at least. And that, the reason why I always had a thing myself about Cicada is, you know, I didn't really follow the puzzles, but when I started looking into things, I kind of came across. It was just an idea, you know. There's no proof or evidence, and I wasn't trying to debunk myself or anything. But you know, I kind of had a theory of, well, you know, you bring a lot of these smart people together. They're good at making puzzles. You know, piecing together a puzzle, making a puzzle. Surely enough, surely they'd be good at making LARPs too. And my kind of connection was, or thinking was, have some of the people in Pizzagate went rogue with, you know, and then you come out with the Thomas thing. So I am wondering, is some of the people that are connected with Cicada went rogue with Thomas and perpetrating these LARPs? You know, is all that behind it, or am I just reaching at the stars? You know, am I just grasping at straws?
No, like I said, Cicada is a puzzle. It's only that Thomas uses the name Cicada to empower him, to give him a certain type of prestige. You know, Cicada doesn't have anything to do with the truther community or even YouTube.
Yeah, but that's what these LARPs are. These LARPs are puzzles.
Well, in a way that there are secrets involved and that you basically have to figure it out on yourself, because nobody's gonna tell the truth. Then yeah, in a way you can tell it's a sick, twisted puzzle.
Yeah, but and each one makes a lot of money. I mean, that's the thing about it, because these channels, and we've established about the money and the channels and the Patreon. We've established that earlier on the chat. These channels are all asking for your support. We need money. We need this. We need that. I need to, you know, update my gear, my equipment, and all the rest of it. I can't do this without use all that nonsense and whatnot. And it always ends up being part of it. And it's not hard to control. I don't believe it would be difficult for a small group of people to be able to control that narrative, because if you've got the mainstay channels involved in that are actually pushing the evidence out and pushing that narrative out, and they would be pushing out the right evidence because they're involved in the creation of the LARP. When the smaller channels, like someone like me or whoever comes along and looks at this stuff, they see what the bigger channels put out. So everybody ends up going along the same line. But every once in a while, somebody fucking pops a head up and goes, "No, this is bullshit. Something's not right here." And they start looking a bit deeper and they uncover something. I mean, even the investigation into VOP, even the people that started out calling VOP LARPs now look like a LARP themselves. They look like they're now part of it. For whatever reason, that's what it now looks like. And some people are promoting that now. I don't know if there's any truth in it, because to be honest with you, I stopped following it. But I have seen a few things where, people who were against it, who were working against it to try and, basically bring it down, are now seem to be part of LARP. And to me, in the bigger picture of YouTube, if you're controlling the narrative and you're controlling the opposition, then, how can you lose? And, there definitely seems to be something not right with some of these channels who would come out against, say, Titus or, Lift the Veil. And, they're out in other channels and saying that they're not, they're putting out fictitious truths and whatnot. And to me, it all just looks controlled. In fact, I've got that point now where, it all just seems to mold into one big thing. And the few people that are left who are spending any sort of time, because there is pockets of us all over this that maybe don't interact with each other all the time, but we're all out there and we all seem to be thinking along the same lines. That's definitely there. There's a lot of people thinking along the lines of what I think about this. And I guess, all of us just want to try and get to the bottom of it. Is the wizard there or is he not? And I think a majority of people want to see an end to it. Just want to just go back to doing things the way it used to be done before all the citizen journalism bullshit came out. So, I mean, the whole, as I said to you, is there the rogue element? Is there, aside from Thomas, is there rogue elements that were involved with Cicada that,
Like rogue elements, like what do you mean by that?
Well, as you said, Cicada started off being a good thing. It started it had a vision of trying to help others, enlighten others, etc., right? And then because it became so popular as it did, it obviously had the potential to make a lot of money. If money wasn't the purpose for why the originals wanted anything to do, we're doing this, it was to enlighten people or enrich people or open people's eyes to what was going around. Maybe some of those people would be like, I don't think so. We're not going down that route. Well, then, the other people who see the amount of money that is there to be made via these puzzles,
Okay, yeah.
then go rogue.
Okay, just to explain, the original intent of Cicada was not to enlighten people or to bring people to a new dimension of all of that. The original intent was to reinforce encryption, create a method of of yeah, I guess it was focused on encryption, on privacy, and it was just there was never a prize like a spear or golden coins and stuff.
Yeah.
It was never about that. It was just basically you get an entrance to a very private forum where you were going to find other smart people working on cool stuff. That was it. You know, that the installment of the spear was the first and the most direct link to the Thomas Pimovi puzzle, and like most of those people are just introverted, people that really are creative, and they don't want drama either. You know, many of them support me, and you can say that are with me in this, but like you said, the only persons that are like this fight, if you can call it like that, between me and Thomas, and I haven't brought anyone like the people that support me that I really thankful to the heart, because many of them were, well, some of them were at first like totally against me, and they were trolling me and stuff, and they eventually find out, and you know, it's one of them is one of the people that have been with me like uh he's been a really important support, you know, and I'm really thankful for that. And I've never asked him like, do this for me or say this or say that. You know, it's something that kind of feels good, you know. Like you said, you don't have to be emotionally invested in this. You don't have to be emotionally invested in nothing that happens in YouTube unless it's directly affects you. That's the whole child porn thing. It's because it's a big trigger. It binds you emotionally to a video or a research that makes you donate, and it's just a psychological trap in so many levels, you know, and to to exploit that in so many ways, that you have people with backgrounds of mind control, background of scamming, of criminal records, just shady, bad people that just everything that they touch just turns into shit. There's, I mean, your gut feeling starts telling you that, you know, that there's something wrong with that, and it's not like I want people to share my truth or to be okay with it. I would wish that each one of them would find their own truth and go through the evidence and just figure it out like on their own. But basically, people are telling me like, we need explained like step by step, and even Unirock said that. And well, I respond in a way that, because I see people that are interested, that are worried, or that realize how deep this goes. And I've actually been reached out by a lot of interesting persons, and you know, each one of them that asked me like, how can I help, or do you need help, are you okay and stuff, you just tell them that the best way that they can help is just staying away and not interfering, because each people that has in the best intentions try to help, at one point they turn on even themselves, and just I don't want people to go through this either, and I'm not expecting that as well. I just wish that they realize that that how deep this connection goes, and how how they're feeding on them being emotionally invested in YouTube videos and trying to find a meaning, and you know, there's people that even research me and are against me, and they make it like their purpose in life, and it's
sad, isn't it?
yeah, it is. You know, there's this guy called Sticks Design. I think he is. I'm even at one point glad that I could be as such entertainment for him. But when you see so much hate and you ask like, what did I did to this guy, in a way that I've that you know, you don't ask nothing, maybe perhaps a little attention and respect because it's something that I give, and you know, I really wish that this whole thing just ended, you know, but we already did our part, is report him to the proper authorities, and the authorities are doing their part, and basically we have to wait it out. And um, in the meantime, I'm trying to help as much as I can, but believe me, I really dislike just this whole environment, and it's so
I guess,
toxic and hurtful in a way, because you know,
I
it's
guess,
just
I guess I'll ask you a very direct question. If you don't want the answer, that's fine. I mean, I, that's no problem.
no, go
But
ahead.
I guess the question I really directly, you know, feel I should ask is, you know, simple. These LARPs that are being perpetrated on YouTube, on the in the truth community by these channels, etc. Do you feel Thomas has a part played behind it? Do you think he? Do you feel he's one of the people financially benefiting from it?
Uh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, like there are other persons behind the curtains, like Lisa Clapier and others. You know, at least I have evidence of them too, of those two. But yes, you there's examples on how he threatened channels, how he made Unirock say the things that he said, cover up for him. There's examples of what he did to fucking Freddy. There's enough examples of what he did to China. I mean, China. I think he has got almost as bad shit posted as I did. I mean, there's a video on Tree Channel that it's one of the videos that they were sent to my girlfriend, is that, and they insinuate that we're watching him masturbate, you know, and that he Treach uploaded.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I know that it's, you know, I know what he's obviously not doing that, like, but I mean, you know, it's put out there. It's, I mean, look, I at one time I had you know, I would give China a bit of credibility, but not anymore. Um, and that's from my own personal experience. Anybody else who, you know, has good things to say about them, well, and that's up to him. Like, um, at the same time, you know, it kind of was a bullshit video to put out. You knew exactly what it was going there, and it kind of, well, I suppose it kind of it helped to kind of clear the lines a bit because you could see who was saying, you know, you see who says what and then you know who to stay clear of and who not. You know what I mean? You know, the lines kind of divided. It's not so much that, you know, I'm for China or against treats as such. It's I'm not going to get involved with people that are cutting below the belt. I think originally what China did was putting out the sound clip of treats. Um, you know, looks bad and all the rest of it, but at the end of the day, a lot of people maybe have missed out on the fact that this was before the live. This all was recorded before the live stream with Lestat, or sorry, not Lestat, with Thomas and that other guy, Duality guy, and the way Treats behaved in the live stream, and the way he kind of turned on a dime and you as well. when you then go back and you listen, the fact that China put it out and you listen to the clip itself, I mean, it certainly puts things into a lot of better perspective of what the hell's going on. And I don't like what he done on me, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I saw some of the things that Thomas said to China in messages and stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't think authorities, police and all the rest of it. What's that? A warning, a slap in the wrist at the best, See, that's the thing. People are very careful of how they word things. They can sound threatening, or they can turn around and say, "Oh no, I was just having a laugh. It's just messing." Sure, he knows not to take it serious. She can spin a fucking lot of bullshit 100 different ways, but for me, it's the direct correlation between these channels that are perpetrating LARPs or certainly helping perpetrate the LARPs and the whole Thomas thing being connected. I mean, that's big in my eyes. That's important, and I think that's a step closer to getting, because I don't believe the likes of Thomas would be the top of the pyramid. There's probably other people beyond that as well. But at the same time, Thomas could say to me here, "I want to talk to you," and he could talk to me, and he could say, "Listen here, A, B, and C, D, E, F, and all the rest of it." And okay, he might have something that sounds just as much fucking plausible. You know what I mean? And I think ultimately, if you have any type of evidence that shows any type of role people played there, and you think that it should be investigated by the authorities, and that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I put out most of it on Twitter. I'm doing the explanatory video, but it's taking time because it has to be something well done and simple, and it's it has this.
Do you know how many videos I've started making? And I maybe don't finish it that day or something, and I come on YouTube and something, the narrative has changed again. And it's like, for fuck's sake, I'm gonna have to start from scratch here. That's happened to me plenty of times. And I'm like, for crying out loud, man, what the hell's going on here? What's happening? And that's one of the reasons again why I'm glad you came on. So I got to talk to you. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't been able to digest fully everything that's been said so far because it's a lot of information to take in. The links are in the chat there, and hopefully, tomorrow or something, I'll try and get a listen through of this again and get at those links and see what people have put up, etc., and what they lead to. But I think, I'll be honest with you, that I think the way you're talking, the way the opposition is up against you. I mean, I would say there has to be certainly at the very least an element of truth of what you're talking about. What you're telling. Like, I've seen some of the videos. I did hear you talking to. Is it Rob Blocks or something, or what's I can't remember.
Brother Box?
Yeah, Brother Box. That's it. I did hear a bit of a stream where you were talking to him, and You know, I remember that guy a few years ago. I've heard him before. You know, in the Fango stream, and it's just some of the things that you mentioned there. You know, kind of ties in a wee bit with what you were talking to in the stream with him. Kind of makes a wee bit clicks with me. It maybe wouldn't with anybody else, but it clicks with me anyway. Um, I would like to hear what Thomas has to say because so far there's nothing, you know, bar a whole shitload of content creators putting out bits and bobs of videos. There's nothing really solid there to turn around and say, well, you know, what say ye? Basically. But I mean, I can't say I'm 100% freaking, you know, convinced everything that you're saying is, you know, truthful or anything like that there. But I definitely believe that there's elements there that I have to go over and I have to try and freaking regurgitate it. And anything that you have at all, if you've any type of research that you want to drop links in the comments after this chat goes up, please feel free to do so. If it helps anybody, again, you know, with answers, so they can kind of, you know, go through the whole process themselves and investigating, because that's the best thing for anybody to do. You know, everybody always says that do your own research, and then whenever you find something that goes against what somebody says, they don't like it and flip out with you. Whereas, listen, I would rather flip in. Just don't take my word for it. What I say, you are honestly better off, because I see a difference. See these streams, I see the streams different to making a video. When I put a video out, I see that as being as close to truth as possible. These streams that I do, to me anyway, I interpret them as this is like my thought process. These are thoughts that, you know, I'm putting out there. This is something that I see. I'm not necessarily saying it's right or I'm right, but I might misinterpret something, and that's basically what all the streams are to me. So any type of thing that you have, you know, that you feel could help back up and, you know, what you're talking about here tonight, please don't, you know, leave any links or anything at all in the chat afterwards. There is links throughout the chat log as well. That'll be up in the replay as well. So anybody who's listening to the replay and wants to hit that, make sure you check out links and things. And make sure, you know, try and validate things for yourself. I feel a bit more. I'll be honest with you. At the start, I feel a bit more comfortable around you now than what I was beforehand, before I started the stream, because obviously, you know, I'd heard all other people's videos, I'd heard all other people's you know, opinions about you. The whole connection with you with China and Freddie and all. I mean, I've experienced with them, and it's negative experience, which was red flags with me. But I am absolutely. I'm glad that we got to talk. I'm glad that you got to put out there.
Yeah, me too.
Is there anything else now that you would like to finish off with that, you know, you feel it's kind of relevant to what we've been talking about tonight?
Well, I guess that just commenting on the being totally believing me, I guess that we all have to like leave a little 10%, healthy 10% of distrust on you know, just normal, like until the point that you feel comfortable. I guess I really don't. Like I said, I really invite people to just don't take my word. I certainly just as a suggestion is like, be careful if you engage with him. You know, he's really good with words and stuff. So, but most importantly, like really do your own research and not like a QAnon follower. Like,
yeah,
try to understand and like like a human, you know. I guess that I really don't like drama. I sometimes, you know, with this kind of bully, you can't really show weakness, because if you show weakness in any kind of way, they're gonna take over it. And so many things happen. Like I'm normally not an angry person or like to curse and stuff, but unfortunately, it's in this circle of mind games and labyrinths and puzzles and stuff. Uh, Basically, you have to be one step ahead, you know. And what happened to the Fango and his experience with Thomas, without a doubt, helped me a lot in understanding how Thomas was going to go after me, and it was in the same way. So uh, I think that people will notice at one point that all of this effort was on contrary of being trying to influence people or sending emails, sending threats, asking people to do me favors, or doing this and that. That it's all been a pure human effort, you know, without my views blown up, without more subscribers of like in any suspicious way. It's very organic how my channel has grown, how the amount of views that I get, it's really low in comparisons with even Titus Frost. And I just you know, I'm really trying to do the what I feel in my heart that is the right thing to do. You know, it's all about that, and I just hope that other people do what their heart tells them to. You know, it's the least that I could expect. Maybe if I'm lucky, you know, inspire more people in being brave. Because I think that this was not much about intelligence, but more about standing up for yourself. You know, so
I think you know what. See, when you're talking like that, do you know what kind of disappoints me about the community? And I'm not singling anybody out there out in particular or anything when I say this, but there is some people in the community that will hear, will hear, the truth, or they will hear things about other channels in this other channel's own words. Like a quick example, I had a video of showing Lift the Veil for exactly what he is in his own words. I didn't really have to say much in it, but it was in his own words. And I think, it's disappointing when you see people go away and you know that they've watched it, and then they go off and you see them interacting with the likes of Lift the Veil in a positive way afterwards. That for me is probably that's what this always kind of gets me the most, I suppose, in this community. That to me is the biggest disappointment. Where you will get through to some people, and a lot of people will "Oh, screw that guy. I'm not going to go near that again." And then other people will see what it says and listen to what it says from their own words, and still get on like their best buds with them. Big thumbs up, giving them a praise, and I'm praying for you, and yeah, do you know what I mean? I always find that disappointing about some people in the community. It's not everybody, obviously. It's just you know, a
no.
small amount. But there is a lot of good people in it as well, and there is a lot of good people who do take heed, who do in their own way try to make a difference, or try to play a part that's positive anyway. I know that much. I've witnessed it. I've seen. I've got eyes. And as much that's why I talked about like kind of like a community channel where not so much to be trying to debunk, Pizzagate, things like Pizzagate, or you know, this other things, but they actually talk about the things that matter and friggin', you know, the things that are actually going on that you could actually, you know,
Yeah,
inform people of that is like, yeah, just for example, like that, you know, 5G stuff, you know, putting out a video about something to do, research, you know, and property and putting out information about that rather than sitting freaking bitching about somebody, you know, following fully sourced on freaking Twitter. Like, you know, I don't want to be involved with that. You know, that's why I thought, you know what, do another channel and if other people, so there's not an agenda as such, so that no one's person agenda can influence the channel. That it's basically just, this is the topic, this is what we're going to look at. We'll put a video out about this, and it's there for all to see, and then move on to the next subject. And if you run out of subjects, you run out of subjects. And that was kind of my idea about things, you know, and that's rather than all this fucking citizen journal drama shit, you know, because that's all there is now.
Just I totally agree. But one thing that when I was trying to be friends with Nathan, I always told him, because he was, even after he supposedly debunked QAnon, he was still talking about it. I was like, dude, stop talking about him. You're only giving him free publicity and stuff. And just, I was there in the stream, and it just was hours of him making people look at white sheets of paper with letters, and I mean, just so boring. And I was like, dude, you can put out just a video for my channel. You can just put it out, and there's no problem. And I told him that not in a way that I wanted him to promote my videos or anything, but just as like, why are you making there's so much things to talk about, like the fact that you see colors when you listen to certain music. It's a really interesting topic that I would love to discuss it, you know, because I have my own theories about that and experiences also. And so many other topics that, I mean, there many things that if you debunk everything, that if you find that the more you research, like, the world is going to lose its magic or its mystery. And no, the more you know is the less you know. The more you discover is, you just only feel that it ties to so much else, and you just find out the part of the truth. And it's and during that time, I made a video called "The Stream of Life." I would like to invite your viewers to take a look at it afterwards, and you know, just it has a message for them at the end, you know, and it's a cool reminder of the important things, like you said.
I think we've all kind of experienced what you're talking about. That when, I mean, Christmas was never the same for any of us. Whenever we found out there was no Santa Claus, was it? The magic was gone. Sorry if I spoiled that for anybody who still believes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's like there's so much things. I don't know. Maybe you don't know about the loss of retro causality, that the future affects the past. And it's really interesting topic, and maybe not much people know about it. Or what about let's one that I enjoy, so your viewers can also leave with new knowledge. You know, the megalithic structures and stuff from Peru and all over the world.
Yeah, it's
They
fascinating
have a
stuff. Yeah.
strange arrangement that no documentary knows how they're looked like, kind of deformed and stuff, like stacked over another randomly, where they are not randomly. And this is something that I'm sure I haven't seen any documentary that says it,
but the arrangement of the rocks, it's the same kind of arrangement. That's how your cells on your skin are arranged. So somehow the ancient builders from the past knew about how the it's called the epithelial cells, how they're stacked, and that kind of arrangement is earthquake proof. It's there for who knows how long, and there's without a doubt, if you compare how it's arranged, uh, the stones with your cells in your body, you're gonna be surprised. So that's that. I mean, just an example.
There's do you know what? When you get away from all this drama, there's so many cool topics out there that are absolutely fascinating. Like what you've been talking about there, the pyramids, other megalithic structures and whatnot, and there's another one that they found. I was watching it back in November. Um, they discovered pre-Sanskrit down in South America, like, and it looks like what they've came across there. It looks like it's predates the pyramids and all. I'll have to look into it more, but it's fascinating anyway. And you know that I think is like probably what in the world we came from. I mean, if you find that out, that's more fascinating to look into than any of this other nonsense, Mandela effect or friggin' flat Earth and all that, you know, and these LARPs, you know, and I'm not talking about blue chicken crap either.
Yeah, it's something
As
that
Lee likes to go on about, but yeah, there's a lot of cool things. You know, hopefully I'll get to talk to you again in the future. Is that it's definitely I'm thankful for you coming on. We've had a good chat, and hopefully people will take the time to try and soak in what actually has been talked about tonight. And again, you know, go through the links that you see in the chat in case you know there is something particular there that's quite relevant. And with that, if you have any links that you want to post in the comments that help
oh
back
yeah.
up kind of what you're saying, please do. I'd appreciate it. And on that note, with that, I'm going to be ending the broadcast. So thank
Yeah,
you very much to the
thank you.
chat
So,
and everybody listening. Listen, chat has been absolutely fantastic. There's been almost no nonsense at all. I very rarely do get any nonsense in the chat. You know, most people are pretty cool. You know, either they have a wee convo amongst themselves or, you know, they sit and listen. Normally it's a bit of both, which is cool. Yeah, good stream. Thank you very much. Moderators, thank you. And let's start. I appreciate it. If you want to hold back a wee minute and let's start before you leave. But
okay.
other than that, thank you very much, everybody. I'll be streaming again soon. Thank you.
Okay.